Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Shutterfly. If you're like us, you take a lot of pictures because you have a camera right in your hand all the time. How would you not take a lot of pictures? And we're taking all these pictures, more than we've ever taken in the history of the world.
What are you going to do with them all?
That's the thing. You used to get a solid picture, and then you'd look through them, and you could enjoy them. Now they're like back on your camera roll. You can't even find them. You don't want that. That's why the cool thing you need to do, and what I did, and I think it's pretty cool, is create a Shutterfly photo book.
Oh.
What I did, and you're going to enjoy this, Jimmy, because I haven't showed this to you yet, but took all of our pictures from being on tour this year.
Oh.
All live show pictures, us backstage, us on stage, doing all that stuff, and like some of the venues and things, and made a little photo book out of that. Also, they have free 24-hour designer service as well. With their 24-hour designer service, a professional designer is going to lay out the book for you for free in just a day. Make something that means something with Shutterfly. Enjoy 40% off orders over $29 with promo code SMALLTOWN. See site for promotional details.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
This week in Marshfield, Massachusetts, a house fire leads to the discovery of a brutal murder inside. But what happened? Robbery? A grudge? A vampire? Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. Jimmy is still giggling about the introduction, and that is going to be the most normal part of this episode.
All right.
This is a crazy episode. If this is your first Small Town Murder, if you've decided to give us a chance on this one, it's you picked a good one.
Yeah.
Because it's very, very interesting. We'll put it that way. It's a wild one.
We don't even know what we're going to say yet, and we guarantee you're going to dig it.
It's going to be insane. This is one of those ones where we don't even have to make jokes. We can just we could read court text, and it would be just hilarious the whole time because it's
giggle and move on.
It's goddamn insane. But thank you, folks, so much for tuning in and listening. Tuning in like we're on AM radio.
Right. Thanks for being on the dial.
Thanks for being on the dial. 440 on your AM dial. And also, thank you for everything you've done for us this week. A little house cleaning here. Thank you, of course, for your iTunes reviews, Apple Podcasts, the purple icon, whatever the hell that is. Guys, those reviews help a lot. They really, really do. So thank you for doing that. If you haven't helped yet, and if you haven't done it yet, and you feel like helping, I know it takes 30 seconds to sign in. It's kind of a pain. What's my password again or whatever? But sign in. It helps us out a lot. Give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. Honestly, it's not for our egos. It really just helps move us up the charts, which helps people notice it, and then more people listen to the show, and that's how it works. It's very good. Do that. If you any other, by the way. Any other platform you listen to, feel free to review on there as well.
Gotta do it.
Let's go there. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs. Obviously, we have all sorts of cool merchandise. Very, very soon, we will be announcing a slate of shows for the end until they go to the end of the year. So also follow us on social media so you can get that if you're interested in getting those as soon as they come out. Right. We will put those up on our social. Not up yet, so we will let you know. Trust us. But it's at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram, Small Town Pod on Facebook if you want to follow those. Also, you should be listening to Crime and Sports. Yeah. I'm sorry. If you're not listening, you're seriously missing out. Yeah. We promise you, we assure you that an interest at all in sports is not necessary. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's kind of better if you don't like sports because we get tons of people that were like, I love that person as a kid and you just destroyed him for me. And it's almost better if you don't like sports because really we're really making fun of the whole thing.
But buckle up because you may start liking sports who I've gotten a lot of emails from.
It's a crazy show. So seriously, if you like wild stories that are just funny stories of criminality, that's the place to be. Listen to Crime and Sports.
More of people that just didn't have to do it. That's fascinating.
Any of the last 3 episodes are great to start with because that'll get you hooked. But besides all that, also quickly, if you want to even help us out even more, if you want to be one of our superstar hero people who we talk about at the end of the show in the most glowing terms possible because we love them, our producers, you can do that very easily. You just go to patreon.com/crimeinsports or head over to PayPal. Use our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com, and you can make a one-time donation there. And God, I can't tell you how much every dime, nickel, and dollar is appreciated. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for us. Without further ado,
it's most important to thank just because people's lives. We know you got shit going on.
Yes.
And for you to even send anything, it's really amazing because we've got tons of stuff going on too. If you knew the shit behind the scenes between the two of us, it's
thank you guys
unbelievable
for everything. We appreciate it.
To just get anything from you guys with real life shit happening, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Got to do the disclaimer quickly here. This is a comedy show. Yeah. So if you're just tuning in and you just want a straight, no jokes, the head was severed from the body and placed in a dark cooler. If you want that, that's great. Dateline's available. There's a lot of shows that like that. The murder porns out there. Go for it. Knock yourselves out. This is a comedy show. The stories are real. Every detail is real. Everything is real. We make jokes though here and there because we're comedians. We make jokes about small towns and bumbling police forces and murderers who are idiots. We make fun of them. What we don't do though, we go out of our way not to make fun of the victims or the victims' families because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. Right. That's how that works.
Same story, less tugging.
That's right. So if that sounds good to you, welcome aboard. We're going to have a great time. And if you don't think true crime and comedy should ever mingle together, then no estuary there for you, then I'm sorry. Have a good one. It's been nice knowing you. You should probably not listen to the show because you're not going to dig it. Everybody left there who wants to have a good time and wants to laugh and hear a crazy-ass story. Let's do this.
You know how we do it.
Shout it from the rooftops, from your cars, stand on your desk in your cubicle. Shout it out. Let everyone in your office know you're insane. Shout, shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, Jimmy. Okay. Let's go on a trip.
Okay.
What do you say? We're going pretty close, actually. We're going to stay on the East Coast.
Close to where?
Close to Little Tits from last week. Very, very close to there.
My favorite.
Yes, we're gonna stay in the region in the Northeast because normally we like to bounce around. If we're in the Southwest, then we'll go to the Northeast and whatever. But we're gonna stay here just because this story is so crazy. Yeah. It's one of these stories where I found it and I'm like, no one else has ever covered this. Because by the way, that's something that one thing I'll do is I won't cover a story that like a true crime podcast has covered. Like we don't do that. Right. If any of the majors have covered it, or there's about a list of about 15 of them, and if any of them have covered it, I'm not going to touch it because it's already been done. Even if they do a shitty job or do a great job, it doesn't matter. Like it's just been done, and we want to do unique shit, which makes it difficult. Because not only do we have to find small town murders, but then whenever people do our shit, it's like, can't you find something in a big city, fucking asshole? Like, that's mine. You get real possessive of these murders. And
we pigeonholed ourselves enough.
God damn it. You have to help our own insane rules that we set for ourselves.
Find your own.
Yeah. So, but this one I said, God, I have to do it before someone's going to do it if I don't do it right now and not next week. So we're going to do it right now. We're going to go to Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's southeastern Massachusetts, which is south of Boston in that panhandle.
Yeah.
Right in the all panhandle, baby.
It's like a boot down there.
Oh yeah. It's like a little Italy coming off of the whole deal. It's right in there on the kind of north coast of that panhandle there as it wraps around.
I was hoping you'd found a murder over there in Smooth Twat or whatever.
Smooth Twat.
What was the sister city?
Oh, that's in the Czech Republic.
Oh, okay.
Kunvald. The Czech Republic there last
Smooth
week.
Twat.
The Little
Close
Tits.
enough.
That was their sister city. We can't make that up. That is not our fault.
Fantastic.
We promise you that. This one here, it's about 40 minutes to Boston.
Yeah.
So it's commutable. This is a commuter town. 2 hours to Hartford, Connecticut, the other direction, and about 2 hours and 15 minutes to Northampton, Massachusetts, which is episode 58. The last time we visited Massachusetts.
My fuck.
It's been about a year
Jesus.
since we've ventured up into Massachusetts.
Okay.
Which was a lot of murders there too. But
is this only our second one?
third.
There?
Our second and third episodes were two-parter on Raynham, Massachusetts.
Raynham,
the Dunkin'
that's
Donuts
right.
guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's a crazy episode.
That was too much.
That was a lot. Yeah, that was
He had a shitty
was
car,
wild.
too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shit car, the whole deal. This is in Plymouth County. Speaking of shitty cars, it's in the county of a shitty car.
That's the reason Plymouth doesn't really exist anymore.
Zip code 02050. I love the zeros and one zip codes from back east. Area code 339 and 781.
Oh.
You can't hold these people down with one area code, Jimmy. It's 32 square miles, 27 of them on land. So it's very spread out because it's very rural. It's not a lot of small lots with packed in neighborhoods. It's bigger lots and there's farms and stuff.
That.
It's a lot more room down there. Okay. It's still pretty rural, for Massachusetts and especially to be 40 minutes outside of Boston.
And you're close to the coast.
Yeah, it's pretty damn rural down there still.
Lucky.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird place.
Give it
we'll
time.
Find out. We'll give it time. The motto of this place here, I don't think this is a great motto. Quote, home of Daniel Webster.
The guy that wrote the dictionary, he didn't write the dictionary.
No.
Who?
No, not that guy.
Who's Daniel Webster?
Exactly. That's why it's a terrible motto, because most people will go, who the shit is Daniel Webster? I've never heard of that goddamn guy.
It's not the guy that wrote the Bible? Or the dictionary?
No, it's not, actually. We'll explain him in a second. I prefer their other motto, which I think is more to the point. Just, quote, cheaper than Boston. I don't know. I think that's pretty much all you're trying to get across here. Never mind Daniel Webster. You can drive to Boston and live here for half the price. Hey, what do you think? You want your kid to have a yacht or what? What do you want here? That's what it is.
Is that Gary Coleman's whole name from the show? Is that what it is? No?
That's your
That wasn't Gary Coleman.
That is not Gary Coleman.
Emmanuel Lewis.
Yeah.
I got him.
Not Gary Coleman.
That's another little guy.
It's Arnold Drummond you're thinking of. Arnold Drummond.
Jesus.
Is not Webster. They're different people. Absolutely, completely different people.
He's a little guy too, right?
Yeah, they're both
like permanently.
They're both permanently young looking.
Yes.
I don't know what the condition is. I believe deceased African American gentleman.
Is he also dead?
I'm not sure. I think Webster. I know Gary Coleman's dead. I'm not sure if Webster's dead. I hope not. I remember he was on like The Surreal Life. He seemed like a really adjusted, cool dude too. Gary Coleman was off his rocker.
Insane.
He was crazy, but Webster seemed fine. He seemed like he was cool.
Digging Michael Jackson. Wasn't he the one sitting on Michael Jackson's lap?
I think any child who is a star was sitting on Michael Jackson. Him, Macaulay Culkin, all of them. Corey Feldman. Bring me minors with penises. I need my lap is empty. That's all it was.
The ones that look youngest, the longer, the best.
Famous.
Yeah.
How famous. Famous buttocks upon my lap. So Daniel Webster, history here. We'll buzz through the history quick, because all of these anytime you're talking about Massachusetts, anywhere near Boston, the history is complete. It's thick, and it goes back 400 years. Right. So it goes back to the 1600s, and it's pretty much the first place people were hanging out was in the Northeast there. So it's thick with history and Revolutionary War shit, and you could do a 2-hour podcast on the history of the town. So instead, we'll just give you an overview and not do all of that insanity. First, Daniel Webster, because everyone, I think, if they haven't Googled him yet, they're trying to figure out who he was. He was born in 1782. He was he represented New Hampshire and Massachusetts in the U.S. Congress. He served as the U.S. Secretary of State under William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, and Millard Fillmore, all presidents, in case you're not good at history. He was an attorney also here. He was also a member of the Republican Party and the Whig Party before that. And after Andrew Jackson, my partner here, Andrew Jackson,
tell me more.
Defeated for his accidental racism. Not Andrew Jackson's. His was completely on purpose. Jimmy's is accidental. He's not a racist at all.
I mix up little black guys, but I don't do it because I hate them.
That was an Andrew Jackson moment, but he's not like, now let's go there, burn their homes to the ground, and take the land. That's not...
Let's kill the one that's alive!
He feels bad, he mixed them up, so that's a different thing. So after Andrew Jackson became president, Webster became an opponent of his domestic policies of mainly what I just said, of completely messing up the Indians and taking their land and doing horrible things to them and marching them in different directions.
So he's a good dude.
Things of that nature. Yeah, he also he strongly objected to the theory of nullification. And we'll talk about that here. He supported Andrew Jackson's response to a nullification crisis, but then ended up disagreeing with him about other shit. Okay. So he was back and forth on a lot of shit. The nullification crisis was a United States sectional political crisis during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, which involved a confrontation between the state of South Carolina and the federal government, which has been going on for approximately 200 years still to this day. They're always fighting with the federal about a flag or about something. Yeah. Stop. Statue. Just stop. Yeah. Stop being a fucking pain in the ass, South Carolina. Stop it. Enough out of you. You had your say. Yeah. We let you get muskets and everything. It's enough now. You shut up and you just go about your fucking business. Yeah. You go to work at Home Depot and you come home and you watch TV and you shut the fuck up. We've had it with you.
Darius Rucker's got to stop being so proud of that state.
God damn it. My dad lives down there now. He loves it.
My aunt lives there.
He just lives like a half mile from the beach, so he doesn't give a shit. He's like, I don't care what anybody else is doing. The beach is right there. I don't.
Fuck them.
Doesn't give a shit. So, there was a tariff thing, the federal tariffs that they were fighting against. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Okay. But anyway, Webster ended up joining with other Jackson opponents to form the Whig Party to unsuccessly unseat him in 1836. Okay. So that's what ended up happening in this town, or that's who Daniel Webster is. This town, real quick history here. During the Revolutionary War against the British, this town was full of British loyalists. Oh. This town was like they were picking the wrong side. We'll put it that way. They in the end, obviously, for I'm not talking moral reasons, just in the end, practically they fucked up. Okay. So there was a lot of infighting among the people of the town over that, because there were some people who were, staunch revolutionaries, and there's some people who, a lot of big pockets of British loyalists, and, fighting goes to there. After the British evacuated from Boston in 1776, a bunch of Marshfield residents were banished from the state. Oh. Banished. Get out under the Tory Banishment Act. Oh. I love the word banishment. It sounds... just thrown out doesn't sound as bad. Yeah. Like, let's say you go to a bar and you have too much to drink and they throw you out. I got thrown out of this bar. Whatever. You got banished? Never again, sir. It says a lot. Yeah. No other chances. Even sober, we don't think you're going to do well.
You've used them all.
You've used up all your chances. Sorry. These people fled Massachusetts. A lot of them never returned. These people were the loyalists after the British were, pushed away from there, were assaulted and jailed. They confiscated land and kicked them out. I mean, people were not having that shit here. Some people came back later on when things had calmed down a little bit, right at things get heated when you're fighting in the backyard. Yeah. You gotta wait till things chill out, and then you come back. Hey, guys.
Remember me?
Hey, how's it going?
I brought Shasta.
I see so.
It was on sale.
I mean,
orange.
I get it's not a major cola product.
Sun-kissed. I'm sorry,
but I didn't bring Hydrox over or anything. It's just Shasta. It's fine. The kids won't mind.
Yeah, they won't know the difference.
They don't
pour it in little plastic cups.
Pour it in a cup. They don't know.
Done.
Just
tell them it's Sun-kissed.
Hey, look at that beautiful orange soda. Hey, look at that, kid. You're happy now, ain't you? So, these people, Jesus Christ, they ended up, some of them ended up going up to Nova Scotia to
all the way to Canada.
Run away. Yeah, they ended up with like this little society of banished American British loyalists. That ended up in Nova Scotia there, the town of Milton.
That is a tough way to try to fit in.
Yeah, the town of Milton denied them. And then finally Nova Scotia gave them another part, gave them permission to land, and so they went up there. They had the ship contained articles here. They had 17 firearms, 5 bayonets. They had swords, powder horns. I don't know what the hell that is.
I think that's a gun.
I guess so. It's a...
Oh, no, you know what it is? That's just the sling that holds the powder for the muskets.
Okay,
right.
There you go. It's pretty interesting, though. They got them the hell out of there. Then they had people at the end of the war. There was some people who were, they were kind of shit out of luck here. In their,
stuck.
They were stuck. They didn't know where to go. They had like family there, and they had.
That is tough.
Yeah,
all these miles from where we are treasonous.
Yeah,
and now we can't fit in here or there.
And you're kind of not. Back then, it's hard to be mobile, really, because I mean, people were mobile, but I mean, you had to just pack your shit up and what you could carry and go. Like there was no moving companies.
And hope there's wind today.
That's what I mean. Well, there was no move. I mean, in a wagon or whatever, there's no moving companies. You can't just like call ahead and do things. It takes forever to do anything. You could be killed by animals. There's like it's very, very difficult here. These people, there's a woman named Sarah Winslow of Plymouth wrote a letter to her cousin, here. And, this says, I found this article talking about the anguished dilemma facing the loyalist families at the conclusion of the war. And this letter, look at how these people write. Yeah. This is April 10th, 1783. Our fate now decreed, and we are left to mourn out our days in wretchedness. No other resources but to submit to the tyranny of exulting enemies or settle a new country.
That's beautiful.
I am one of a number that gladly would embark for Nova Scotia, was it either prudent or proper, but I am told it will not do for me at present. What is to become of us, God can only tell.
That person's like 19.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. It's a 14-year-old kid. In all our former suffering, we had hope to support us. Being deprived of that is too much.
Yeah.
It's
incredible.
I wouldn't write that now if I was on my deathbed. You know what I mean?
Greg Giraldo had a joke about that where he was like, imagine a letter from an army guy in Iraq. Dear Hannah.
Yeah, it's a Civil War thing. Yeah, that's was that Gary Goldman?
No, it was Greg Giraldo.
Oh, Greg Giraldo. Yeah, that's Greg Giraldo. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, where he's like, my dearest Clarice. And it's like this long, the days between us, it's all flowery.
Dear Hannah. That's
like,
what it is. Yeah.
Yo, bitch. Is like the...
And the letter back is, P.S. Don't fuck nobody till I get home.
Don't fuck nobody till I get there. So,
it is very hot in the dessert.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what it was back then. If you could write, you could write.
It is amazing.
Of course, half the people were illiterate, but if the people who were literate, boy, could they write. Amazing.
And if you couldn't write, you could still speak like that, which
That's
is
the thing,
fucking impressive.
Unless you were a hill person or something. And just, it depended on where you were, really. So, the early industries here, they had a lot of farming, a lot of cattle, fishing there, because it's right by the water, salt marsh haying. I don't know what salt marsh haying is.
I think we've talked about salt marshes
Yeah, we've
before.
talked about that before.
I don't remember what they are still.
I'm
not gonna.
I don't even care.
I'm never going to absorb it, so don't tweet me.
Doesn't matter. We don't care. So, a number of the early townspeople here had slaves, including this Winslow family they keep talking about a lot. The Winslow and Kent families had slaves, which is not cool, of course. They had an early nail factory. That's exciting. We're making nails. Jesse Reed founded that. He was one of the first to manufacture nails by machine. He's a fucking innovator.
I'm trying to think of how a machine does it. I guess it just stamps it.
I believe. I don't know.
Because I can see. I don't know. I can see him making it.
I'm sure there's Mark Summers how to whatever that show he had.
Yeah.
I'm sure he told you how nails were made at some point. So shipbuilding became a big thing. Over 1,000 ships were built here during the 1800s.
Was all those goddamn nails?
All those nails. That's what you need all those nails for. A lot of ships. Also, they built the antenna here that sent the first transatlantic voice broadcast in 1907. Because it's just like it's the farthest east we have, pretty much on the tip there, going to Europe. So they huge fire in 1941.
Yeah.
400 buildings burnt to the ground in 3 hours.
Holy shit.
That's a fire. If anything catches on fire and you're like, oh, that was a big fire, it's a shit fire compared to that fire.
400 structures in 3 hours.
3 hours.
That's
Gone.
it.
Gone. One of the largest fires in terms of structures destroyed in the history of the United States.
Today.
Still. It was the subject of national news coverage. They had a big spread in Life magazine with all the pictures of this town because it was just like, holy shit. Yeah. That was it wasn't like a wildfire like in California or anything like that. It was a goddamn, like a fire started in town. It just spread. It's crazy.
At some point, you got to think some dickhead that just didn't like his house was like, throw a match. They'll think it's all the same.
Shit on it. Well, Christ, who knows what the hell kind of crazy heating systems and poor electrical work they had there rigged up. It was, they didn't care. In a moldy basement, they had bad electrical connections. It's not great. Today, though, it's pretty rural out there. A lot of suburbs. It's more rural. I mean, it's a more laid back place. There's a lot of old farms there, which accounts for the large square mileage of the town, and a lot of old historic houses here. They have a summertime. A lot of people come to the beach, so it's got a kind of a tourist population for a couple of months there. They have a big agricultural fair there. Oh boy, it's the oldest agricultural fair in the United States.
It's because it's the only one.
They started it back there, and then they were the first to have that idea. So it's a lot of tourists though come to the beach. Population here in 1900 there was 1,810 people here. That's it in 1900. As of right now, there's 25,648.
Booming.
So it's boomed a little bit, up 2.7% since 1990. So not really running away with it.
When's the festival? Do you know?
Summertime.
It's in the summer.
Yeah, it's a summer festival.
Okay, that's weird.
I know that. Probably to get more tourists and shit in there too.
Everybody else calls that the fucking state fair. You know what I mean?
They have that too.
Agriculture thing.
Yeah, no, this is a separate. It's
built
just
around the harvest.
The agricultural fair. It's they started it.
They're celebrating the John Deere.
Yeah, well before they would dip a Twinkie in hot boiling oil. They had this. It's not separate from the state fair. Median age here is 44.6, which is 7 years older than the average. But most of the age demographics are pretty close to average. It's just there's more people 25 to 54 by a little bit, and it drives it up. More females, about 53% female here. Married population's higher. These suburban towns outside of a big city, you're always going to get the higher. It's families that move there. People get married. They find each other in the city and get married and move out here and have kids. That's just the way it works. So 57% married, almost 58%. Less divorce rate here than normal. Less people single with no children here than normal. So it's not a swinging town. It's a suburban hangout commuter town. Racial breakdown here. Outside of this close to a big city, wow, 94.93% white.
Jesus,
is very white for wow, that's excessively white. For 25,000 people, that's a shitload outside of a major city.
Right by Boston,
0.16% black.
Wow,
that's borderline on purpose. Not even more. That sounds bad. They won't let in Emmanuel Lewis or Gary Coleman. They're not neither. 0.54% Asian, 1.36% Hispanic. So it's pretty white town. 43% religious, which is lower than normal. 34% Catholic.
As fuck.
Catholics are the Baptists of the North.
They really are.
As we all know here. 0.4% Jewish. So not quite a Hava Nagila. You don't quite get to sing it. 0.4?
God damn it.
That's it. And 0.0% Muslim. The last election, 50% voted Democrat, 42.5% Republican.
That is interesting.
The rest is independent there. Yeah, it's a liberal. In Massachusetts, it's pretty liberal.
Right.
So unemployment rate here is about normal. Median household income is high because a lot of these people work in Boston too, so that helps. And it's just expensive back there. Normally in the country, it's about $57,000. Here it is $94,737. So a good almost $40,000 more here for the median.
Damn near double.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot of kind of white collar jobs that people have there from finance and insurance in Boston, that sort of thing. So you get people that have a few bucks more in the professional, the scientific and technical jobs. There's more of those. A few more like retail trade because it's by the beach. Overall cost of living, 100 is par, normal, regular. Here it is 153.7.
That's not so bad.
Not so bad. It's all pretty normal except for housing, which is 238.3.
Fuck.
Median home cost here, $462,500. So
I don't see it.
Expensive.
Yeah.
It's goddamn expensive. And most of the houses are between 80% of the houses are between $300,000 and $750,000. So you're not going to get a lot under that at all. It's pretty.
And the houses in that area are not that fucking great.
That's the thing. I found
be in a
couple.
real nice area.
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
You know how we can do that? With
I'd
the
love to know.
Marshfield, Massachusetts Real Estate Report. Your average 2-bedroom rental here is about $1,810, which is pretty high. And then when he goes into like more, houses in the 3-4 bedroom range, they're pricey. Yeah. I found a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 591 square foot little house. It is tiny. Yeah. $259,000.
Shit.
And it's not even like right on the beach or anything. I checked. I'm like, is it like a bungalow? Is there ocean waves crashing on your doorstep? Nope, not at all. I found a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,869 square foot house. Try to find like your family house. You got like 3 kids or something. Yeah. This is kind of house you're going to need. $449,900. That's kind of your average, middle class family home here, and that's what it costs. And then I found you want to stretch out. You've done well here. You have a nice office in Boston. I found a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,400 square feet, right on the water. I'm talking. There's the porch and there's waves coming up 5 feet from the porch with sand there. It's
how much?
Beautiful.
Is this?
$1.1 million.
Jesus Christ.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
But for what it is,
I mean, in LA, that's $13 million.
13. Yeah. If you had that in like Malibu, that's a $40 million house. It's just, so, I mean, even like if you were on Long Island or something, that's a $20 million house. Yeah. If that's in the Hamptons or some shit like that. But it's not. It's Massachusetts, so it's less. So, things to do here. They have the Levitate Music and Arts Festival.
Oh boy.
Here. Oh boy. It's a community oriented surf/skate shop and apparel line based out of Marshfield. And that's what they have
Levitate?
They have a big music festival here. They call it, New England's premier grassroots festival. I don't know what the hell.
Okay, so they started from the bottom. Now we're here. World-class
music, art, food, and culture to our own backyards and blah, blah, blah. So it sounds like you you smoke your vape pen and get stoned and then go there and like.
Do you have a lineup?
Find like pretzels and shit on the street and like fried dough and eat it and fuck around and.
Maybe they dip it till we get some of
that
hot
shitty
oil.
Band. Maybe they discovered it. Who knows? Crime rate here, what we're interested in. Yeah. Crime rate, property crime's about 1/3 low, so it's about 2/3 of the normal here. Violent crime, the murder, rape, robbery, and assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about half the national average. So it's a rural suburban safe town that people move their families out of to avoid city shit, basically. Move their families to avoid city shit.
Keep your wife from cheating on you.
That's, I'll keep her out there with no goddamn houses around us. Nobody to cheat with.
Bunch of insecure dudes. Once a year, I'll take you to a music fest. Don't you worry.
Don't worry. They got that Levitate Fest.
If you don't like that, I'll show you some deers over there at the agriculture
On our
fest.
anniversary, we go to Boston for dinner. And then we come right home. So not too much wine.
That's a 40-minute ride.
We'll get a bottle at home. It's expensive in the restaurants now. I don't know why they have southern accents. Because they're in a panhandle. It's panhandle accent. What are we talking about? That's why.
It's not southern.
Panhandle behavior and a panhandle accent. Right. Let's talk about some panhandle behavior, shall we? Let's talk about a murder. I think we should. I think it's time,
This
damn
is
it.
great.
Let's do this. Oh, this is great. People died. This is great. Jeez, it just tickles me. I don't know what it is about death.
Unbelievable.
So this murder here. Okay, let's start with April 10th, 1980. So we're talking Massachusetts, the same town we've been discussing, obviously, 1980. So population's a little bit lower, as we discussed, about 25,000 now. It's about 20,000 in 1980. Okay. But the same thing. It's a quiet, rural town that everybody just thinks of as a a real peaceful place. It's just a family place where your kid could ride the bike down the street and not be taken.
You're 6 hours up the road, just relaxing in New York City right now.
That's over there. So
that's what you're doing at this point.
Well, I'm 2.
Right.
So not even. I'm 1 at this moment in time.
You're sitting in a crib in a shitty diaper.
A few hours away, I'm sure. Maybe. I don't know. My grandmother's stuffing food into my face, I'm sure, because that's what they did.
My mom doesn't even know my dad sucks yet.
I was a fat fuck as a kid. They were just feeding me, man. Just, you got to feed him. He'll throw up when he's full. Don't worry. That's like how my grandmother's policy on things. He'll throw up when he's full. It's fine. You just keep feeding. He's hungry.
Treat him like a car.
That's
just keep pumping it in till it falls out.
That's it. Just keep topping it off. That's what they did with me constantly.
Till it runs down the fucking side of the car.
I wonder why I was a fat shit as a kid. Good Lord.
That is a fascinating policy.
It is.
That sounds Italian.
It's very Italian.
Yeah, it does.
Well, if he doesn't want it, it'll come out. It's all full. You don't know if you're full.
That's hysterical.
How do you know if you're full? You can't see. Have you thrown up yet? Well, then clearly you're not full. What's wrong with you? You're a growing boy. You need to eat.
Fuck, that's funny.
So this is the problem, though. Sometimes you'll get fat kids in Italian families like this because you feed a kid like that. And I'm lucky and I'm 6'4".
Right.
So at some point I had this fucking burst of height.
Right.
And
stretch it out.
Thinned me out, which was good. But I mean, if I was genetically 5'7", I'd be in shit out of luck.
Yeah.
I'd be a dough ball.
210.
And chubby. A little bit chubby.
210 and gross.
Yeah. So I don't know. So we're going to talk about this murder. We're going back to 1980, April 10th, 1980. It's about 3:00 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Some nice area here. Birds are chirping.
Hell yeah.
This day, actually, though, it's not a nice day. It's a windy, rainy day.
Okay.
Windy, rainy day. There's a man doing painting work inside of a house nearby, and he's outside. I think he's smoking or doing whatever the hell, washing a brush out or something. He's outside and he sees smoke pouring out of the house. Not his house that he's painting at, but another house in the neighborhood. Yeah, he sees a bunch of smoke coming out, so he calls the fire department, obviously. Yeah, he didn't go in and order a pizza.
Right.
Hey, how's it going? I need there's a house on fire, but can you bring a pepperoni? I'm giving you that as a reference point. We're across the street from the house that's on fire. Bring me you can't miss it. There's smoke bellowing out of the top of it. No, we won't call the fire department until after the pizza. If they put it out, then you won't know where we are.
I'm giving you that instruction because it's going to be hard for your delivery driver to find my house.
He's going to have to weave
the smoke.
Yeah, and he's going to the fire trucks
Look
too. I'm
real
sure.
hard. Yeah.
So weave around them. We're the house across the street. We'll wave.
Right.
It's okay. There's 2 painting trucks in the driveway. Can't miss us.
We're hungry.
We're hungry. Very, very hungry. It's lunch. It's past 3:00. It's past lunch.
Smells like barbecue outside.
We had a busy day. So now we smell, I don't know what she had in there, whoever in that house.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about the safest sponsor ever, Simply Safe. Absolutely, these people will keep you safe. It's amazing. You know that every 26 seconds a burglary takes place in the United States, according to the FBI. That means that by the time this podcast is over, dozens and dozens of homes will have been targeted, ransacked, God knows what happens here. So protect your home before it's too late with Simply Safe proactive security system. Simply Safe helps stop threats before they even have a chance to break in. Named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row. And by us for about the last 8 years as well. If you trust us, believe me, you want Simply Safe. So visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan and your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Now back to the show.
This show, Small Town Murder, is brought to you by BetterHelp. Get yourself some therapy, everybody. Honestly, here. We often hear about, red flags that you should avoid. Hey, that's a lot of a thing. It's become a real phrase now, real cliche. Yeah. But why don't you focus also, you look at green flags in friends and partners. Look for good things as well. Right. And maybe you're not sure what that looks like, though. Therapy can help you figure that out. What are positive things? What are the green flags? And then you can practice them in your relationship. It's absolutely a fact. And so, honestly, we absolutely are huge advocates for this. It really, really helps. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable. It's convenient. They serve over 5 million people worldwide. You can access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists, wide ranges of specialties there. Here's the coolest part. You're not getting along with your therapist, you're just not feeling it, you can switch at any time, no extra charge.
Wow.
The thing is, they want you to get help. That's it. And you can do it with BetterHelp. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/smalltownmurder today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/smalltownmurder.
Now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there. Sure. Yeah. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
So the fire's eventually put out. Obviously, they didn't just let it burn to the ground. This wasn't the Great Fire of 41 like we talked about here.
They 400, just one?
Just put this out, and it was fine. They want to know whose house this is. They figure out that the house belongs to a 74-year-old woman named Carmen Lopez. Once they get the fire extinguished, they look around inside the house, and they find Mrs. Lopez.
Oh, no.
They find Carmen Lopez dead inside the house. She's in a fetal position on the bedroom floor of a burning house. So they take her in, and there's obvious. Let's just say it's obvious that fire wasn't the only thing that got to her.
Okay.
We'll put it that way.
There's blood on the outside of her body.
There's a lot, and and there's also holes in her that shouldn't be in her.
Fire
also,
that usually.
It usually doesn't. It's when you find an old lady and she has holes in her, that's usually an issue. Yeah. They don't come like that.
No.
That's the thing.
No.
That doesn't occur naturally.
No.
Oh no, it's I'm just getting old and holes form. You know how that goes. My grandmother never talks about that.
Yeah.
She's 93. I think she'd have a ton of holes by now if that's what happens.
Should.
She's puncture wounds everywhere. I don't know. I just bleed. The arteries break. I don't understand it.
Can't believe that little old woman's 93. She doesn't look it.
No, she's 90. She's 91. Grandma.
Okay.
The other one
great.
that died is 93.
Okay.
The grandma's 91. Yeah, she's doing
great.
She's doing great, but she's very grumpy about it. She's not happy to be old. Put it that way. She's pissed off about it. She's not fucking having it whatsoever.
I'm not happy. I'm 38. So
I know.
I get it. I get it.
She is pissed to be 90, boy. You have no idea. She sits there angry.
I don't want to be.
I don't either.
No.
I get it. So later on, they do obviously an autopsy on her because they want the full extent of it.
Sure.
This seems like foul play.
Right.
You know, normally people don't shoot themselves a bunch of times or stab themselves a bunch of times and then set their house on fire.
Okay.
It's not a normal thing to do here. So they reveal that she had been shot multiple times.
Yeah.
They find multiple gunshot wounds. It's .38 caliber. Ooh. And on the bullets, they find, this is the weird shit, on the bullets, they find some gold paint on parts of the bullets. Which
somebody painted them, or like they were?
Yeah, like they're not gold bullets. They're gold. They find paint on them, like that, flecks off that you could scrape off.
Okay.
Like so, that's an odd Bullets don't come like that.
No, they
basically
come copper jacketed. They don't come.
They don't come
spray painted.
Yeah, no, they don't usually. Nobody. It's not a fucking Easter egg. People aren't dipping their bullets in designs and shit.
Bullets aren't getting a pedicure.
Yeah, that doesn't. That's not. It's not out of the box, is what we're saying here.
Right.
It's not standard factory issue. So that's an odd thing. And the other thing too, they find 2 penetrating wounds in the chest and 1 wound to the back that are considered as stab wounds. Okay. So she's got multiple gunshot wounds, 38 caliber bullets with gold paint on them for some reason, and 3 stab wounds on her. So
you think that
this is a
90-something-year-old woman.
This is 74. But she's also disabled, bound to a wheelchair.
Yeah.
She's not in good health, this woman, at all.
The bullets should have done it. You didn't have to keep going.
All you had to do was sit and have a couple of sandwiches. This woman was on the way. She was
almost done.
She was an old, very sick woman, and had a lot of physical problems. She couldn't get around. Yeah. Whatever you had against this woman, we'll put it that way, that you wanted to kill her. Really, time has done it already.
Time's on your side.
It's on your side, A, and B. It's already done it. Right. She's in a. How much more can you? I mean,
you could shoot her and stab her.
I guess that's the way to do it. That's it.
Yeah.
And they find around the bullet wounds too. There's some oddities around the bullet wounds that they can't quite figure out at first. And we do figure it out eventually of what's around the exterior of these bullet wounds. It's very strange. So investigators clearly want to know what happened when a 74-year-old woman in a small town is brutally murdered and her house set ablaze. Right. Clearly this is an issue, and this is why we have a show called Small Town Murder, obviously. So they look around. And the first things they're thinking is obviously, first is robbery. Did somebody rob her? But this seems like a kind of a overkill for a stranger robbery. Sure. Number one. Normally a stranger robbery, either the gunshot would be enough. Normally it's not that aggressive. Weirdnesses, and there's not really anything missing. Okay. There's nothing that you can see of missing. The TV's there. It's 1980, so the shit like that gets stolen, and nothing like that is gone. Okay. So that right away, it's not a robbery. They figure that she's not mixed up in a Colombian cocaine cartel, being 74 years old. And
that's a good cover.
I mean, it is a good
move.
Living in Massachusetts and being in suburban Massachusetts and being 74 in 1980. That is an excellent cover.
Brilliant.
That's the type of person where they would use her house as a stash house, actually. But they don't think that's what's going on here, just because that's crazy and it's not happening. And this isn't Miami.
It's either crazy or genius. We're going with crazy.
We're going with crazy, considering it's Marshfield, Massachusetts, and not Miami. Okay. So, so they're wondering what the hell could have happened. Who has beef with this lady? Okay. Is this a neighbor that she, fucking yelled that their dog was shitting on her lawn, or what is this whole thing? So they do a bunch of investigating, and they narrow it down to, they're like, okay, this is either they think it's probably a family member, is what they've narrowed this down to, and they're talking about a couple different family members that they think for some reason could possibly have had access to her. Nobody's had a pronounced beef with her. Put it that way. There's not like a lawsuit over property that they have been fighting over for years, or any obvious thing like that. So they're like, who would have had access to her? Now they start with her grandson. Her grandson is James Riva II. So right away, he's a fucking junior.
That's a problem.
Right away, I don't trust the guy. Right. I got to be honest with you. Yeah. Right away,
James ain't scaring us off that scent.
No. I see that. I see that II at the end. I know what that means, and I know that you're not. That you're a junior too, because I know what your dad's name is, and it's fucking James, and your middle name's the same, and that's you, Pally. You're a junior.
You don't get to take that too when you're a junior.
No. And that just sounds like you're more fancy.
Right.
Sorry, Junior. That's
a 2 is named after somebody else. It doesn't have to be the dad.
But this is named. He's a junior.
Fuck you, sir.
That's right. And if you do not know, if you're not aware, if you're a new listener, Crime and Sports, we have had 100 and almost 60 episodes, and just an absolutely inordinate and ridiculous number.
Way too many
of these athletes who are criminals are either juniors or name their kids after themselves and name their kids Junior.
Keep going.
It's to the point where it's like, okay, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like if it's 100 out of 160, that's a pretty decent test group there.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So if we ever get to like 1,000, we'll let you know, because that's a really good test group.
That's a good pool.
But it's going to be a quarter of them at least. We'll put it that way.
I bet it's more.
It's always when we've done the math before. It's always steadily more than a third of these people. So
it's a lot.
So he's born June 16th, 1957. Okay. So at this point, he's 23 years old in 1980 when this is going on, or 22, about to be 23. When you delve into his past, they look around, like I said, they look at these other family members first. They look at everybody, and he's the only one that really stands out as he seems like somebody you'd want to think about more when you hear about his background. And let's talk about his background, because this is one of the craziest fucking things we've ever dealt with. This guy, his story, the whole situation. So her at 4 years old, this started here. At 4 years old, he started acting funny. His father exchanged money in his piggy bank. So they were trying to teach him that money, like, 4 quarters equals $1.
Okay.
Shit like that you teach your kid. Practical shit.
So
with
he made
money.
change, but equal amount.
Equal amount. The kid had 2 dimes and a nickel in the piggy bank.
Yep.
The father took 2 dimes and a nickel, gave him a quarter.
Okay.
And said, "Look at that.
It's the same amount, but look at it.
Look at that.
Condensed
Isn't that
into
neat?
one.
Boom.
Beautiful.
Kid freaked the fuck out.
What?
James lost his mind.
Yeah.
His mother said, quote, he had 2 dimes and a nickel and his father exchanged it for a quarter. And we explained that they were the same amount, but he tried to call the police.
He tried to call the cops.
Repeatedly.
Wow.
Like they had to wrestle him away from the phone. And if they ever let him go, he'd make a run for the phone to call the police to say his dad stole money from him.
Okay.
Because
it's more coins.
Because
obviously.
it's more coins. So that's his. So right away, he can't be. And they're explaining to him this is the same amount. 10 plus 10 plus 5 is 25. Yeah.
Should have let him call.
Because back then, the cop would have come over and probably beat him with a nightstick and maced him. Sure, you want me to mace him for you? Yeah, I think we should teach him a lesson. Back then, that would have been, everybody would have kicked the kid's ass.
Or sat him down like an after-school special and just started teaching him, brought a whole fucking jar full of change and just started showing him how it all equals the same.
This is 1961. You just beat a child. You didn't explain things to him. You told him to shut up, you smacked him around, and you had him make you a martini, and you sent him to his room with nothing, with no dinner. That's how it worked in 1961. If you watched Mad Men at all. That's all that they did.
Cop walking in going, you don't have the nerve to hit him, huh?
Yeah,
I got it.
That's it. The cop does it, then the parents do it, then all the neighbors come over, smack him around just for being a shit. You learned your lesson, son? All right, good. Now you learn. Now, don't be violent. That's your lesson. All right. Run along, sonny.
Exactly.
Make me a martini. Make one for your parents, too, while you're at it.
How much is 3 dimes?
How much is 3? Yeah. Everybody beats him again. So then, after that, he tried to call the police, which is silly. That's just a silly kid thing. I'm sure that's kind of obsessive behavior that, like, I'm sure CEOs exhibit to and very successful people exhibit. What the very successful people don't exhibit, though, for the most part, is this behavior. His mother says, quote, he then made a contraption with a hammer and a string.
Oh, no.
That, and hung it over the doorway to the bedroom so that when his father opened the door, the hammer hit his father in the head.
I would beat the living fuck out of him.
That is beyond.
Oh.
Okay, that deserves a 1961 ass kicking right there. That is. He hit his father in the head. He set up a booby trap.
Jesus.
He set up a cartoon booby trap.
Yeah.
Like, he watched Bugs Bunny and said, like, I could just do that.
Have you ever dropped I moved a fucking shelf in the garage.
Good. Yeah.
And I had a hammer on the top shelf like an asshole. That's my fault. It really
I don't know what
is.
you were thinking
But
there.
I moved it to get something around the back of it and just leaned it a smidge and the hammer just slid.
Oh, it's not good.
I heard it sliding and I kind of looked around like back and forth.
Yeah.
Not up. Back
No.
and forth. What the hell's that noise?
Yeah.
And then whack. That's the sound alone is
weird.
Terrifying.
It's so weird because you know what hammers are made for? Bashing things. So it's odd that it would hurt when it hit you in the fucking head. It's made to drive metal spikes into fucking hard objects that don't want things driven into them.
Go ahead and put that on the top shelf.
Yeah, let's put it on the top shelf. And
get that away from everybody so it doesn't hurt anybody.
just so it's there. But
it hit me, and I looked over
terrible.
Back and forth like, who the fuck just did that?
your fillings rattled too, didn't they? You went, oh boy.
I'm sure they snapped together. The bottom teeth, my fucking
That's a bad
hurt.
one. Yeah, and then you're concussed.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're making dick jokes on a podcast. Like, what happened?
This is all I'm good at.
What happened to me? Jimmie, if you don't know, he used to be a poet.
Right.
He was really a internationally renowned ballroom dancer. He had a lot of things going for him. Intellectually, he was just outstanding.
Genius.
Beyond reproach. And then this hammer incident
I knew who
happened.
Webster was.
Yeah, this hammer incident happened, and he's like, "Is there oil in Florida?" I think, right? That's why people went there.
Webster and Gershwin were
Same
people I could just yank out of a hat.
Same shit. Now he knew at one point. Now he doesn't.
Common references in conversation.
Shit. So this kid hits his father in the head with a hammer.
Yeah.
Over nothing. Yeah. Over making change. So
because it's hilarious.
He didn't do it as a comedy though.
He was just doing it to fuck with him.
He was mad. They wouldn't let him call the police, so this was his way of retaliating.
Wow.
And this was like the next day. Like he held a grudge, planned it. This is a 4-year-old. 4-year-olds forget everything.
Yeah.
They can say, "Can we go to the zoo?" And you go, "Yeah, sure." And then an hour later, they don't remember that they're going to the zoo. And you're like, "We're going to the zoo." And they're like, "Are we?" You're like, "Fuck, you asked to go here.
Why are we doing that?"
Like, awesome. Yeah, they don't even remember. Like 4-year-olds are for a 4-year-old to hold a grudge, like a violent grudge for a day, is not normal behavior. If you've ever been around children,
can't wait for retribution.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm going to set him up. I know. I seen that one thing on Bugs Bunny.
Make it look like an accident.
In preschool, I'll make it look like an accident. Like he did it to himself.
Well, he looked like he just beat the living shit out of himself.
He set it up so he couldn't hit his own self in the head with a hammer. He needed to set it up.
He needed to open the door.
Yeah. So in preschool and during kindergarten, apparently he constantly drew pictures, and this would draw complaints from the teacher. Not complaints, but like, concerned calls home over this. Drew pictures of goblins, bats, and witches, which...
Around Halloween, whatever.
That's the thing. Around Halloween, you tell the kids to draw a witch on a broom and a bat and a goblin, and then like if it's February, you're like, this kid has problems, and you call the parents. So that's not something that in its own is not bad. I mean, and I know tons of people who are just fucking weird. Yeah. They're into weird shit. They're into the occult or the macabre of some kind, and they're into weird shit. Who cares? You know what I mean? And they don't, do anything nuts. But this kid, if you add all this stuff in with bashing his dad in the head with a hammer and stuff like that, and more stuff, also, while still in preschool and kindergarten, quote, dozens of pictures with bare bottoms. These are like witches and things like that. Bare your ass out, with holes and blood dripping on the floor, puddles of blood and hypodermic needles.
Whoa.
Quote, we were distressed at the time.
Why does he even know what a hypodermic needle is?
That's what I mean. A hypodermic needle, puddles of blood. These aren't images that normally 5-year-old kids can conjure because you just go off of what you've seen. So
are you talking about holes in the cheeks or like...
Yeah, and this is in like 1962, so it's not like he would just, he was watching Friday the 13th with, his older brother had it on. He saw a horror movie from the fucking 80s or from now or whatever. He saw while something was going on. Like this, that. You didn't see that shit in 1962. Like Vincent Price was a horror movie. It was just him being creepy and having a house with, lightning and things in the background. Ooh, there's creaking.
His voice was terrifying.
There's a storm and the phones are out. Terrifying. There wasn't like somebody just got disemboweled in another fucking room and...
Very few witches with their asses out with holes in them.
Very few.
Were the holes in the cheeks, or was it like
we don't know. That's his mother just said bare bottoms with holes and blood dripping on the floor. I don't know if that's an asshole or if there's extra holes made with blood, or if it's just a bleeding asshole.
I mean, either way,
I'm
it's
not
still
sure.
gross.
It's still pretty gross either way. So she said we were distressed at the time, his mom Janet. I don't blame her. She also said, quote, there were scenes of violence, of guns shooting bullets and cannons and people dying.
Good Lord.
Which is in the kindergarten level. Like later on, kids draw military shit. You draw planes dropping bombs, and I don't know. It's just
my kid's in 5th grade. He's done that for a couple of years.
Yeah, boys are weird.
Not
like
crazy,
that.
but
no.
Like
but in kindergarten, mixing that with blood pictures and hammer, plots. It's a weird thing. Now he later on will also, in what he says, his claim here is that he was physically and sexually abused as a child. These are claims that his siblings dispute, and that his parents obviously they dispute because he's blaming them, but that his siblings also dispute, and all other members of his family dispute as well.
That's
but
the worst claim to make if it didn't happen.
But that's the thing. But he sticks to it a whole cloth forever here. Psychological sexual abuse. He also talks about drug and alcohol abuse as a child. He said his mother was significantly abusive toward him, both physically and emotionally. He stated that his mother performed, quote, weird witches rituals on him, which included having him drink what he called a, quote, witch's brew, which I don't know what that could possibly be. She could have been giving him Ovaltine.
Yeah.
And he would.
Around Halloween.
It's a witch's brew. Or, well, this kid obviously has, he thinks his dad is, stealing from him to the point where he needs revenge. So who knows if he could turn Ovaltine into witch's brew in a heartbeat in his mind. Also, he said that his father would give him marijuana and whiskey at a very young age as treats, which is also denied by all the relatives and family and all that. He also says that his father physically abused him. He said sexual abuse in terms of that. He said in the past his mother's female friends would sexually abuse him and that his father would encourage him to have sex with young girls, which I don't know. We don't know if that's true. His mother denies that, and everybody involved denies it. But if he says it, his mother's female friends. I don't know if this was like
He must have been the hottest 8-year-old ever.
Well, yeah. So he's acting
he's
like
got everybody fucking him.
The way he's putting it is like he's making it out like it's like his mother's got like some weird coven where she's a witch and performs rituals and has a brew, and then her little witch clan fucks him. Like that's what he's trying to say. Yeah. But no one else has any knowledge of witchcraft or witchery of any kind.
And then his dad's diddling him, and then
any
saying,
covens.
Get out there and fuck all the little girls.
Yeah, it's a very strange report. And if all that's true, wow, it's crazy. But he has siblings and everybody else, and no one else. Nobody
saw any.
Nobody saw it. It didn't happen to any of the other ones, and it's just we don't know. He also said that he began on his own outside the family abusing all sorts of drugs around the age of 13.
Now we're talking.
This is 1970. So if you want to get into drugs, that's the time to do it. There's plenty of drugs around.
It's everywhere.
It's around. It's easily accessible. He says that he was really, really, really into hallucinogens, dug LSD a lot, and took a goddamn shitload of it as a teenager, young, 14, 15.
I don't know, to reality.
That is not good for you.
No.
You can't at a young age. I know we have teenagers that listen, not to be level dad shit here, but shit like LSD and shit. If you're gonna drop acid, you gotta wait till you're 21,
right?
For real. Wait till you're fucking. I'm not saying don't do it, because if you want to do it, I don't know who the hell am I to tell you not to do it.
Stop you?
Yeah, that's. I mean, if you want to try to expand whatever the fuck and sit in your house and play video games and dick around with shit, go ahead, do it. I don't care, but don't do it till your brain is fully formed yet, because it will fuck your shit up in terms of little things. And this is one of those deals where you can't do a shitload of acid. We all know those kids who did a ton of acid in high school before they were 16, and none of them they weren't sharp, or even at 17, they were already fucked up and burnt out and in weird place.
I used to smoke weed with an older man who told me that he goes, smoking weed's fine. And we're passing a joint around. And then I was drinking a beer or whatever. And he's like,
is this story in with you getting molested? Because you smoking weed with an older man is, and I know you're,
No, I was 18, I think.
Oh, okay.
17 or 18, whatever.
Okay.
And in the middle of the conversation, he was like, the difference is that we're not doing coke or heroin. He's like, when you're older in life, go ahead and do whatever you want. I don't care. But life, your body is like a cake. And he's like, if you put the cake batter into a pan and then put it in the oven and then it bakes it, that's like life. And then you get to a point where you got to put the frosting on. But if you put the frosting on and then put it in the oven, then it's all fucked up, right? That's what this is like. A 40-year-old man
he heard that
smokes a shitload of weed.
He heard that one time from some other weird guy, and
some
he
other
was
dude in his 40s when he was.
That's the shit, man. That's what it is.
He goes, hallucinogens and stuff like that.
Man.
That's the frosting. You get to live life, and then you have your frosting.
It's not for everybody. Acid's not for everybody. Shit like that is not for everybody. And now, mushrooms are way more mild, so that's a different. It's way less. It doesn't affect you as much. But acid alters things a little bit. It's a different. It's just a different thing, especially if it's
fantasy and reality.
Good. Yeah, it's not. It's just a weird. I don't know. It's a weird. It's hard to explain. Everybody's tried to explain what acid feels like for fucking 50 years, and it's the most inexplicable thing there is on Earth. You know, it's like you can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't explain it.
It's probably because it affects people so much differently. It varies from person
but
to
everybody
person.
has that thing where it's like, you ever heard the Gravedigger song "Trippin'"?
No,
and he's
probably
he's trying to explain it, and he's like, and he starts going, it's like, oh goddamn it, I hate it. He can't explain it. He tries to fuck. He's like, he can't fucking explain it.
I hate it.
He's like, he can't explain it because he's like trying to fucking say what his condition is.
Feelings.
Yeah. You can't do it. It's like, it's messed up. So anyway, he does this a lot, which nobody has any, nobody denies this. And he thinks that these, tons of hallucinogens that he did may have caused him some mental illness.
Okay.
He says that by the age of 16, he was experiencing both auditory and visual hallucinations.
Oh no.
Not good. Either one of those are bad.
Without taking drugs.
Well, yeah, this was just when he's sober, which included, as he described it, telepathic messages that told of certain individuals who were vampires.
Hell yeah.
That sucked blood from him.
That's what they do.
Okay, now, this is when the vampire shit starts. Okay, there's a lot of vampire shit going on here. This guy, it's messed up because if this happened 25, 30 years later, I'd be like, oh, he's just trying to be like fucking Twilight and be like all dark and broody and shit. Right. But this is not, this isn't that. He's a fucking weird dude. So, he says that, this is crazy. They said that they also asked him why any of his abuse claims haven't been supported by family members, and he said that he respected their opinions, but he stands by his own experiences. I know what happened. I know my mother was a witch who had her coven fuck me. Yeah. I understand this. He says, and this is, we're talking, he was in institutions and he saw doctors that he told all this shit to at the time of it being a teenager, where like, I'm hearing shit and this is what they're telling me and I'm a vampire.
Imagine being that doctor.
Oh my God.
Fuck is wrong with this kid?
He's like, vampires are sucking my blood, bro. They're just sucking it. I can't stop them. I can't stop them from sucking my blood.
Yeah,
He's like,
metaphorically, there's so many vampires out there. Uncle Sam.
You know how it works. The taxes, corporate America is just eating up the little guy. I understand the middle class is getting squeezed, my friend. And he's like, no, actual vampires are sticking holes in my neck and extracting blood from me.
I get it.
Try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
You know, a cake is like...
Yeah. So, well, speaking of cooking, as a matter of fact, here's a later conversation with his mom.
Oh, boy.
Okay. His mom is asked, quote, at that time, being a teenager, did he begin eating strange things? His mother says, yes. He cooked up concoctions on a hot plate in his bedroom of boiled ketchup and parts of animals with oil and entrails and raw fish and birds.
Ugh. Why did she allow that? Boiled ketchup is the base. That's what we start with.
He reduces that. He gets a nice ketchup reduction going, and then he has to infuse it with animal parts and oil. That way, he can get a really good saute crust, really good crust on the entrails and the raw fish and birds that he has there. You want to really hit that hard so it's crunchy on the outside, but you want it to be soft on the inside, or you're never going to beat Bobby Flay. You know how this shit works. Jesus
is it like
Christ.
Quail or is it like pigeon? What are we talking about?
He could, you know what? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
He's a finch.
He had an early idea.
Yeah.
And he was out of his time. He saw the Food Network, but he saw it 40 years in advance, and he was training for it. And he didn't have any other things to cook. That's what it was.
Okay.
He's like, I got ketchup, I'll boil this down. Animals, parts of animals. I live in the woods. Animals,
right by the ocean.
Hey, animals, entrails, fish, birds. I can get these things. This is fine.
Man. Protein and ketchup.
Yeah,
Jesus.
That's why he's got Julia Childs on. Julia in the background.
That sounds so gross. The word entrails ruins the whole dish.
That really did that.
There's no menu on earth that has entrails.
You got to think of a different word for it. You know what I mean? I mean, foie gras sounds better than fucking bloated liver. I think so. You think of something better to say. I think maybe. You could sell that shit to rich people.
You get rich people eating snails under some bullshit
absolutely.
Guys. It's easy.
It's very easy.
You change
They've been doing
the word,
it for years.
and it's not entrails.
Yeah, it's entrails is not.
That's not the word to get us.
The special tonight is boiled reduction of ketchup with parts of animals cooked in an oil with entrails and a side of raw fish, and of course birds, madam. Of course birds. What do we look like? What kind of a gyp joint you think we're running here? Of course we got raw fucking birds.
They're free range. We took them down with a BB gun.
Oh, God.
In a humane way.
In a humane way. One shot with a BB gun.
My
God.
With a daisy.
With a daisy, and it took him right down. So they say he's cooking up that. So the next question to the mother was, would he eat a bird whole? Like, would he just eat a whole bird like an apple? Like, just fucking hold it in his hand?
Wow, with salt.
And his mother said, yes.
Oh, jeez.
He just ate a bird. Next question is it fair to say he constantly did this? I would hope not. He's just always got birds in his pocket. He's just constantly means he's just always just reaching into his pocket, grabbing birds out. He's offering them to other people. He's just got to feel like it's a pack of gum.
Good Christ, that one hurt.
Jesus Christ. Did he constantly do
birds in his pocket? It's like a magician that just keeps turning everything into a bird.
But they're not alive, and he's going to eat them. That's the difference. Watch, I'll make it disappear. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Oh, give me a minute.
He sounds like the vampire to me. Jesus.
Well, that's the thing here. So the mother replied, no, not constantly. It was a cyclical situation. And so she was then asked, were there other types of behavior? This can't be, on an island, this crazy behavior. She said, well, funny you should ask.
I'm so glad you asked.
Pray tell, were there other types of pray tell. This is
amazing.
This is a pray tell situation right here. His mother said, well, he started not sleeping at night. He'd go for days without sleeping, which is an odd thing for a 16-year-old to do. Quote, wandering the streets at night.
Why?
Why are you letting him?
That's your job, Mom. No.
Keep him in the house. But then again, if he's fucking eating raw birds out of his pocket and everything, maybe you don't want him in the house.
Stand in front of the door and then he just pops a fucking sparrow out and nibbles on the head.
Exactly what I was going to say, yeah. It's just... Oh, he must be really just into birds. Are you into like a bird watcher? Did you find that? No, Mom. This is just...
They're just delicious.
Whatever's laying around, I eat. That's how it works. So they're just delicious. So he's wandering. Maybe they're happy. They're like, he's gone. Good. Jesus Christ. Lock the door behind him.
Get the broom. Sweep up the feathers.
Christ, just get him a net. There's birds out there. He'll be fine. He's happy for days. So wandering the streets, days without sleeping. She also said that later on, and we'll talk about this, just the reason why we'll talk about in the kind of chronology of how it happened. But later on, he's in and out of mental institutions. He's living in an apartment temporarily. He kills a cat, a neighborhood cat in the complex, the complex cats that are around there. Feral cuts its head off, which is not normal behavior whatsoever. Killed a cat, cuts his head off, and dissected the brains because he said he wanted to fix his own brain, and he thought if he could figure out how the cat brains worked, that he could fix his own brain.
Different animal, sir.
What are you going to do? Take it out and perform your own surgery on your... Now, this piece on the cat looked like this. Let me put... The fuck are you thinking?
You need that to do the surgery. So if you don't have that in there, your body doesn't operate. The whole thought process behind it is wrong, and I'm an idiot.
This isn't working. You do need your brain fixed. They said, asked the mother, on this occasion, were there blood stains or brown stains on his teeth? His mother said his teeth were very discolored. They were like that for a long time. Yeah. The next question was, did he tell you that he drank the cat's blood? She said, yes, he did. So not only did he dissect its brains to figure his own brains out, he also drank the cat's blood after he beheaded it.
Does blood stain like coffee?
I think it's probably like wine, I would imagine. I don't know.
Leaves a little purple tinge?
Either that or he's not good at dental hygiene.
I can see it.
And he has blood on his teeth all the time. So that's a problem here. Both. There's also a report at this point during the late 70s that he went to somebody's farm nearby and got a fence post and hit a horse on the head with a fence post.
Jesus.
And killed it.
Wow.
Killed a horse with a fence post, and then took a large syringe and extracted blood from the horse with a syringe.
Yeah.
Took it home and later used that as a chaser, just a a side drink with some crackers he was eating.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
he's having some blood and crackers, as some horse blood and crackers, as obviously we all do. Obviously, the delicacy that we all know.
Did he boil it and dip it like tomato soup?
I don't think he reduced this at all. I think he just fucking shot it into a glass, as we all like horse syringe blood, syringe horse blood and crackers, obviously.
So somebody knows that he did that. Did he tell it, or did the?
This is found out. Yeah, this is found out through psychological shit at that time.
So somebody didn't know who killed their horse.
Yeah, no, that was a mystery. The fence post horse murder is still a mystery in southeastern Massachusetts.
Can you imagine walking out to your horse and there's just a fence post laying by it and
he's
it's dead?
Like, what the hell? You wouldn't even notice the syringe mark or anything. You wouldn't even notice it.
What monster just did this?
Why would they do this?
There has to be a 15-foot person walking around here.
They didn't steal it. They didn't fucking disembowel it. They just killed a horse and left it here. It makes no sense.
I am shocked. I didn't know you could kill a horse that easy.
Apparently, if you whack it with a fence post hard enough, you can knock it down and you can keep killing it, I guess.
I'm done with that.
That's horrible.
Saying of that could kill a horse. Because apparently they die pretty easy.
Well, if you hit anything with a fence post, you know how hard a heavy a fence post is?
You got to fucking swing that.
If I hit you in the head with a fence post,
you think I'd die?
Maybe. It's possible. A couple times. If I hit you a couple more while you're on the grave, probably die, I think. I think that's how it works.
I'm going on the premise that he did it once.
One good shot, clock. Like Alex, like Mongo.
Yeah.
He just hit him once and the horse fell down. So in 1974, he's committed to McLean Hospital, which is a psychiatric hospital, for 6 months. So that's at age 17 or 16 or so. 17. Yeah. He's 6 months in. So that's a lot for a teenager to be in a mental hospital. Then he continued outpatient treatment. And also, what the problem was, as soon as he got out of the psychiatric facility, it's not like he was cured.
Just good now.
I'm fine now. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm feeling great.
I can't believe I did that weird shit.
Yeah, he continued his strange behavior as soon as he got out. Like, he was super odd to everybody. He ends up being committed again to another hospital because of threatening to kill his father repeatedly. Repeatedly would kill his, like, always. Like, I'm going to kill you, Like, it was really, like, fucking strange.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about a healthy, delicious item, Hero Bread. And we're both trying to get healthier this new year. Jimmy had a eye-opening doctor's appointment and things like that. So we're trying to get healthier, and I'm telling you right now, this Hero Bread is a good step in this direction. It's delicious, and it is really good for you, and it's really excellent. They have the sliced bread is good, the bagels, the tortillas. I know you've been
they're terrific.
Ranting about the tortillas. They're so good. With Hero Bread, you can focus on your health goals and still indulge in the soft, fluffy experience you love, but guilt-free. I really love the little Hawaiian rolls, too.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. The Hawaiian rolls, they're legit. They're fluffy. They're exactly how you want them to be. You'd never know it's low-carb and high-fiber bread from the texture. You get the soft, fluffy experience you know and love with your savory breakfast sandwich, late-night grilled cheese, Taco Tuesday. Do it. No compromises, just flavor, ultra-low net carbs, 0 grams of sugar, high in fiber. It's fantastic. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at HERO.co.
And now back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you all sorts of good stuff about Chime. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many extra fees you have to pay in life. Everything. You go to the airline, there's an extra ticket on that. There's extra fee on every fees and fees, hotels, fees, all this type of stuff. We're trying to make progress, and the next thing you know, here comes another fee coming at you, and it's more money than you expected, and your whole math is thrown off, and it's awful. Learn more at chime.com/smalltownmurder. Chime is great with that stuff. I mean, you can't beat if your things are a little tight, especially around the holidays or after the holidays. Yeah. You need that money a couple days early, or you go grocery shopping. You got a car payment due. There's so many things that don't cross over exactly how you want them to cross over. Make progress toward a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/smalltownmurder. That's chime.com/smalltownmurder. feels like progress. Banking services and debit cards provided by Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A., members FDIC. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Boosts are available to eligible Chime members enrolled in SpotMe and are subject to monthly limits. Timing depends on submission of payment file. Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs.
And now back to the show.
Also, at this time, he was engaging in conversations with his mother that she considered strange, and I'll tell you why. Okay. You might, I don't know, judge for yourself. Where he would refer to, quote, voices from outer space that would, quote, be directing his body. So that's 16, a problem.
That's what he's saying.
That's an issue. I'm going to kill Dad. Yeah. I got a really good Sparrow reduction ketchup sauce going on in the back. Oh, and by the way, I hear voices from outer space that are directing me to kill. Would you like a bite of my finch? Of my pocket finch? What the fuck is going on?
He had a fresh cargo shorts Sparrow for him.
God damn it.
Try this Robin.
He was in the cargo shorts well ahead of the fucking 1999
Oh, these are
curve.
great.
Like,
I can hold so many birds.
Holy shit. There's a lot. I can collect them. This will last me all day. God damn it.
Oh, fuck.
So, as a mother, you have to really be like, you know, you want to love your kids and you want to help your kids, and especially if they're vulnerable or sick. Or, I mean, clearly that's a sick person. I mean, that's not a normal person. It's just not. I'm sorry. That's not just, oh, he's just a misbehaving cut up. I would describe this as unusually mentally disturbed behavior.
This is fucked up.
Or this is fucked up is a better way to put it. At one point in the 70s, he goes to Florida.
So many birds.
Yeah. That's why he's down there. The fish and the birds are everywhere. He moves to Florida. He left an apartment that he moved into with the cat head and everything. Left that behind. Moves to Florida. Disappears for 4 months in Florida. Now, while in Florida, he meets a man that he says is a 300-year-old vampire.
Oh, boy.
He meets this man, and this man tells him that, you know...
If you're going to meet one, it's going to be in Florida.
He said, listen, here's what you need to do. That's the thing. If I said, guess where he met a vampire, it's going to be Florida. He went down to Florida, and he met what he thought was a vampire, and apparently this man told him, look, you're a vampire, and you know we're all vampires, clearly. But the problem is you're a punk ass vampire. Oh. He basically told him like he was a prison new jack. Like he was like, look, brother. He's like, everyone in here is going to keep stealing your fucking fruit cocktail. You know what I'm saying? He said, like, we're all going to keep sucking your blood. Like, sorry, you're fucking weak. We're going to keep sucking your blood. And the only way, it's like a pyramid scheme after that. It turns into, serious, like a direct marketing thing or whatever that is. Like he says, after this, what happens is, if you suck other people's blood, though, then it makes you stronger, drives you up the vampire pecking order, and then only the top vampire, and the higher you get, the less vampires are going to suck your blood, till eventually you're the top vampire and you're the only one sucking blood.
Vampire Amway.
It's Vampire Amway. It's Vampire Avon, and they're like, you have to it's a vampire pyramid scheme. And you have to you have to get vampires under you that you're sucking their blood, and then get them to suck other people's blood, and then there's just a big chain of blood going on, and then everybody gives each other pocket birds, and it's happy.
This would have been, if Kiefer Sutherland was preaching this and the Lost Boys, it would have crushed.
They could have made a little cash on the side rather than just fucking around scaring teenagers. What the hell is that
Unbelievable.
bullshit? A vampire pyramid scheme. We've never had a small town murder first, everyone. We've never had a vampire pyramid scheme. Oh, and they also said that if you wanted to kill a vampire, he said, listen, now, if one of these fucking vampires comes after you, there's only a couple ways to kill vampires, as you know. First of all, you got to do the stake and get them through the heart, in the chest. But you also have to shoot them, and it's very, very, very important. You can't just shoot them with bullets. They have to be painted gold. That's important.
Right.
You have to have gold paint on those
Silver
bullets.
bullets are werewolves.
That's werewolves. You have to paint the bullets gold, and that keeps the vampires dead.
Okay.
So, Gold bullets.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who would have shoot somebody with gold bullets. I know an old lady with gold painted bullets in her.
There's some.
That's a problem. As if you had any doubt so far. So
James is suspect number one at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. I would. Yeah, if not for the cat heads and the pocket birds and the sparrow reduction, at least for the fucking
incredible.
At least for that thing. Anyway, other things. He had a bunch of other episodes leading to him being treated at Boston University Hospital, Taunton State Hospital, and the Mayflower Clinic in Plymouth, Mass. Too. Okay. So what I'm saying is this cat has seen the inside of a couple of hospitals, and for good reason. Yeah. So he's so it was 74, and when he was hospitalized in 74, it was because he stole tear gas grenades from a police station.
What the fuck?
At 16, which is a pretty ballsy move.
That's a hilarious prank.
I was going to say, at 16, that's almost an awesome prank.
Yeah.
Like, if I was 16, I'm thinking back, if I was 16 and one of my friends came with a bunch of fucking tear gas grenades that they stole from the police station, I'd be like, that's fucking awesome. We would have said, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Let's find some woods and we're fucking setting those bitches off.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're going in the middle of nowhere. We're setting this shit off. So he was given the choice at that point to be incarcerated in a juvenile facility or agree to psychiatric hospitalization. He agreed to be hospitalized because it's better than jail, but he reportedly refused all of the recommended medications.
Of course.
So he doesn't want to be on any meds. Yeah.
I'll just gladly be here instead of jail.
That's the thing. Absolutely. In 1975, he was admitted to the Westwood Lodge after he called a psychiatrist and reported that he was feeling angry toward his father and that his father might be injured or killed if they get in a fight. So they said, well, okay, let's go ahead and get you.
Yeah. Coming right over.
You know what, man? That's responsible. If you have a mental problem and you know you have a problem and you know that you have an issue, and people have issues, and that's shit, man. That's life.
Very common.
It's very common, and it's nothing to, that we shouldn't be pushing these people into closets or anything like that. That's not the way this shit works. But if he's responsible enough to go, hey, I'm having these thoughts where I want to kill my fucking father, and if we're going to get in a fight and I'm going to kill him, rather than do that, he calls a psychiatrist who he knows to say, I'm having these thoughts, and the psychiatrist says, we should probably put you in a hospital. And he says, okay, that's responsible. That's realizing that you're thinking outside of the box.
Starting to at least notice a pattern of behavior.
You know where the box is. Right. Killing someone, not in a box. Right. That's outside the realm of normal. Right. So I should call someone. So he ended up leaving against medical advice, though, the hospital, and stopping all of his medications. So that's not great. And then he was admitted to Boston University Hospital in the summer of 78. That was for the cat mutilation incident. When they found out about that, he told his mom about that. She told the psychiatrist, and they were like, let's go ahead and talk to him. That's not normal. Again. So he was, from Boston University Hospital, he was transferred to Taunton State Hospital because he was perceived as a dangerous person by the staff, and they couldn't handle him there. So he needed to be in a more secure location. While he was there, this is where finally medically they determined that he's, quote, acutely psychotic.
Yeah.
I could have told you that just clinically, just based on what I read. I didn't need to really examine the guy. Right. I understand that's not how psychiatry works. You need to examine someone, but if you tell me someone's getting fucking pocket birds, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to say, I think they might have an issue. Yeah. Just off the top of my head.
And acute in medical terms means fucking right now, like very unexpected, quickly.
Very and sharp and right pointed. Yeah. Yes. Literally pointed. That's
not
acute.
Like math where acute means minor and small. No, this is the problem.
Acute is pointy. That's the thing. Yeah. Pointed, like going to happen right now, like a fucking arrow. That's very, very descriptive. So he's acutely psychotic. They said, listen, this is in a psychiatrist reports. He cuts up animals. He drinks their blood. This happens more than once. He believes that he needs the blood in order to survive. As we described earlier, the vampire pyramid scheme. He doesn't want to be at the bottom, getting all the sucking done to you. You want to be the sucker, not the suckee here, pal.
It's like any sucking.
It's like any sucking. It's like a weird thing here.
It's just better to be the sucker.
Well, there's certain sucking where that's not true. I don't think. I mean, for me personally, I'd rather be the suckee on certain sucks than the sucker. But This guy, if you're in a vampire pyramid scheme, you need to be the sucker. So they said that's a weird thing. They said that he suffered from, he had a bunch of delusional thoughts. He insisted that people were trying to kill him. His delusions included the belief that the staff of the hospital were trying to poison him. This is very common if you read any books about prison, a lot of the mentally ill inmates believe that the staff is trying to poison them. They won't take their medications because they think it's poison. They won't eat their food because they think it's poison. Like that's a super common thing in a paranoid.
Out to get me.
It's the poison thing. It's very specific to poison though, because it's like this plot that they have.
Because you die from that.
Yeah, and you die from it, but it's something you can't see. That's why you know it's there.
Jesus.
It's a real like a conspiracy weird thing. He also at one point while he was at Taunton, he crawled through the air vent ducts like fucking Die Hard and the ceiling and escaped the place.
Wow.
That is really crazy.
Why is that even an option?
I can't believe they had vents that men could crawl through and that nobody did that all the time. I would think that would happen every day if people could just crawl through the air vents.
In a place like that, make those tubes fucking small.
Make them small. Yeah, get 3 small ones instead of one big one. Let's make it so a guy can't fit in there. I mean, we've all seen all these movies. What are we doing here?
It's unbelievable.
Good God. So he did that. He escaped at one point. He ends up also having psychiatric treatment through Mayflower Counseling. He was referred for testing and diagnosed at that time with undifferentiated type schizophrenia and impulse disorder. This is his first real diagnosis of a before that they literally were like not sure, put him in the random crazy pile. That back then especially there was no like they were just like he's fucking crazy. I don't know, like that's all they thought of it. There was no
bird pile. Right.
But everybody with pocket birds.
Right.
He's going to be the cook over there in cell block B.
But that's a zinger too of a diagnosis.
Oh, that's a bad one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, he's all fucked up is what they're saying. In 1980, he was again referred to Mayflower Counseling through the Plymouth District Court. This was to determine if he was a dangerous and emotionally unstable person. This court thing in the Plymouth District Court. It was they didn't understand. Looking back, we don't understand why the court was involved, but they think it's because he had requested a gun permit. This guy applied for a gun permit. I mean, it's easier than chasing the birds up in the trees. It's an easier way to get them, don't get me wrong. But still, he's just been climbing in the trees waiting.
Also, what kind of gun? A rifle or a handgun? Because a handgun...
you don't need a permit for a rifle, so I would assume a handgun.
That's a tough get on a bird. With a handgun?
That's true. It's a rifle is you don't need a permit for a rifle or a shotgun.
Really? Out there? Is that what it is?
Anybody can buy it anywhere.
Really?
That's.
I mean, here you can buy whatever the fuck you want.
No, rifle or shotgun is. You can buy that anywhere for hunting or for sport or shit like that. Yeah,
playing.
You can't buy fucking handguns. And other places than Arizona and the South. So. In the world, really. Well, Arizona, the South, the lawless areas of Cambodia, I believe you can still just buy machine guns in a fucking parking lot like you can here. Just it's a gun show. Here's a machine gun. Guy I just met. Sure, no problem.
Or the center part of Australia where nobody's at.
If you meet with 2 pickup trucks with the heads of kangaroos as hood ornaments, you can fucking trade shit there.
Rear view mirrors. See it? I can see you back there through the eyes.
Or
through the reflection of the kangaroo eye.
Or through perfect legality in fucking half the states in America. Either one, those situations or that, but fine. But he goes for a gun permit, which is denied.
Yeah, thank God.
Let's be honest here. Yeah, no, you're not giving the pocket bird guy a fucking thing, gun permit. So he's battling.
Tried to pay in seagull feather.
Yeah, come on, that's not going to work. A plume? No, I'm sorry. So it's all sorts of things here. Also, in addition, I forgot to mention this earlier. The spaceship.
Yeah.
Remember the spaceship that he's hearing? Well, this spaceship took the relationship to the next level. First, it was just sending voices, and as one does, you call, you text, things like that. Drop social media things. Here, this time, I would say this is a spaceship version of like going steady and getting serious. The spaceship had put a transmitter in his head, which is, It's like putting a ring on your finger, I think, spaceship style.
If I'm telling him what to do, I got to know if he did it.
If he's doing it or not. And that the transmitter was directing his body. Yeah. So he didn't even have control over his body anymore. This was all through a spaceship radio transmitter thing that was happening, directing all of his bird cooking and ketchup boiling and everything else. He also, but he figured out a way to thwart this. Because, every once in a while you need a minute to yourself. Right. It's like putting something up in front of a security camera to block it or something. Every once in a while he would wear a cardboard pyramid over his head.
Oh, yeah.
Because his mother said that he's told her, well, I'm wearing this because, quote, the pyramid fixes my brains.
Okay.
So he's really on a mission to fix his brains. I'll give him that. He wants to fix his brains. Right. He's looking for cat solutions.
Hell yeah.
He's looking for cardboard pyramids, if that's a possibility, and nothing fixes his brain. It's a problem. Also, anytime he lived at home and wasn't in a hospital from about between 75 and 78-ish before he went to Florida and popped a cat's head off and had his own apartment and all that shit, and met the head vampire and was recruited into Amway and all that. Whenever he was home, the family would lock their bedroom doors, and at least one member of the family would stay awake at all times when he was there. They literally had like a night watch with him. We can't all sleep because who knows? He could butcher us all.
That's nuts.
So everybody lock in and one person stay awake and make sure that way we can call the cops if he starts running amok. Those are the precautions you have to have someone in your house. Holy shit.
Get him the fuck out of your house.
I've never had someone stay at my house where we had that kind of precaution on it before, where it was like, lock them down and have the phone in your hand, dial 911 and fucking sit there. Could happen at any second.
Where's his watcher?
No sleeping.
Right.
Thermos of coffee next to you, just a pocket full of birds ready for the morning.
Good Lord.
That caught on in the family. Everybody was doing it. The beaks are chewy.
Or you keep them and you toss them to the other side of the room, give you time to get away.
That's what you do. You keep him, you go, blah, blah, and he runs after it like a dog. It's like throwing a guard dog a steak in a cartoon. He goes and eats it, and you run the other direction. So obviously this isn't good.
Yeah.
Finally, 1979, no one else can handle him. He ends up moving in with someone who could use some help. Yeah. His grandmother.
Okay.
He lives with his grandmother, Carmen Lopez, here for a period of about 8 or 9 months in 1979. Now, he'd been living there, but finally she is tired of having him there. She asked him to move out, not because of his sauteed sparrow special, or
was he wandering around the house screaming "Pocket Robin"?
Pocket Robins and the pyramid on his head, and he's
Pocket Robin, crunch,
crunch, crunch, crunch, Pocket Robin, crunchity crunch. Ooh, Pocket Robin, your beak is so crunchy, crunching, Robin, Pocket Robin,
so gross. Pocket Robin.
You've got wings that are so feathery. Pocket Robin, ooh, Pocket Robin.
I'm gonna fucking vomit.
Awesome. That'd be twice in a month I do that to you. I'd love to. My goal is to kill a man.
Oh, that was so
with
close.
Laughter at one.
It was so close. I choked it back.
Well, Pocket Robin's a good song.
I couldn't tell if it was hilarity or the grossness.
It's both. It's both.
It was close.
Ooh, Pocket Robin. So,
God, it's so gross.
So if all of those things weren't enough, she also doesn't like that they get into constant arguments about. This is what's amazing, okay? All of this shit is going on with him. You know what his grandmother's pissed off at him about?
What?
His long hair. His long hair. That's the least of your concerns with this kid. I don't give a shit what you do to the cats or horses or any other goddamn thing, but
get a haircut, hippie.
Fucking hair's got to go. That's amazing to me, first of all. And also his lack of employment, because but how do you keep how does this guy have a job, for Christ's sake? It's unless he's like one of those county animal collectors, he'd be great at that.
Yeah.
They're already dead.
Right.
Let's get him on that job.
Day one, though, in the break room, though, what the fuck are you making?
What is going on? Put that frying pan down. It's like, no, it's gourmet.
That was our office cat, you jerk.
You dick. So at some point he moves out of his grandma's house without any incident. He begins living with his granduncle, Henry Lopez. And on April 9th, 1980, this is the day before the fire, James tells his granduncle, Henry Lopez, that he was going to Plymouth the next day to see about a job. So that's what has been told. The following morning, which is the 10th of April, Henry Lopez drives James to Braintree, where his father worked, James's father, and there James borrowed his father's car and drove away. So he needed a car to go apply for a job, is what he said. And they said, sure, take you over there. Hey, there he goes.
You're out of town? Shit, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to clean his act up, too. Shit, let him do it. You never deny an unemployed person who you've been begging to get a job a ride to the job to go get one. Like, that's shit. Here, take this. Here's $20 for lunch and fucking put a shine on that car, too, while you're at it. Show up there looking good. So, he does that. He has the car. About 1:45 p.m., James is at an auto supply store, like an auto parts store, and he runs into a old high school teacher of his at that point, because, he's in his 20s now, but he runs into a high school teacher of his who he talks to for a couple minutes. They talk about the teacher's going to fix the brake lining on his car or something, so they bullshit about, what are you here for, what parts, and who the hell knows. The teacher says not a thing about him was unusual. He wasn't munching on a bird or anything. Like, he was,
picking his teeth with tail feathers.
That's it. Abnormally normal. Yeah. Just normal, doing fine. At that point, James drives to his grandmother's neighborhood, and he parks around the corner, about 150 yards away from the house. Everything here. This is about 3 o'clock. When he arrives, his grandmother is alone, and she's on the couch, lying down. She asks him if he would wash some clothes for her, because the washer and dryer are in the basement. Yeah. So it's very hard for her to get downstairs. To get downstairs for her.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, she goes from couch to wheelchair and doesn't get around well. So she says, now that you're here, can you please throw a load of wash in for me? That'd be really helpful. So he goes downstairs. He starts doing laundry. He then notices or remembers downstairs what he has downstairs. Hidden in the basement is a gun, which he has painted gold, and a bunch of bullets, which he has also painted gold. So he has that. Apparently, just while the laundry was going on, he walked upstairs. His grandmother was sitting there. He apparently shot her once. When he shot her, she threw a glass of water at him because that's all she had to defend herself. She's a helpless old lady.
Or she knows that water kills vampires.
Or she's like, shit, that's witches, damn it. And then she thought of the Wizard of Oz.
Shit, if it was only blessed.
Fuck. So, yeah, damn it. It burned him. So, if only I'd have paid more attention in church. So this poor woman, she literally has nothing else to defend herself with. So she just tosses a glass of water in his direction, which obviously is not much of a defense. So he shoots her a couple more times at that point. Then he decides that, she's a vampire, so I better make sure and stab her also, obviously, because it's a vampire situation. And, but then he says, fuck, now what am I supposed to do with her? She's going to come back to life. Right. I mean, that's what happens. She's going to come back to life. She's going to then suck my blood. And then
turn to dust.
That's the thing. Right. So he didn't know what to do. So he carried her into the bedroom and poured dry gas over her and set her on fire.
Good Lord.
That's his solution. And then he went back out, rolled the wheelchair into the bedroom there. Like, okay, put everything in the bedroom. There we go.
Gas.
I don't know what dry gas is, but
it's interesting.
It's flammable, apparently, and he had bought it that afternoon. Where? At the auto supply store while he was talking to that teacher.
Good
That's what he was buying, was dry gas.
Wow.
And this guy, he was a container for it or whatever the hell. Okay. Something to do with the dry gas. So he does that. Then he walks outside, hops in his father's car, and goes and picks his dad up.
While the house is on fire?
While it's on fire.
Wow.
Not only the house and his grandmother in there. At one point during the drive to get his father, he pulled over to the side of the road, and he had put the gun in a tackle box that he had with him, and he put the tackle box in a small ditch and covered it with leaves. At one point, that's his way of stashing it. At that point, his father gets a phone call right about when James arrives to pick his dad up from work. He gets a phone call at work alerting him that his mother's house is on fire, which is an issue. So then they drive to his grandmother's house, you would. Right. And when they get there, obviously the police are questioning them. Do you know anything about this? Were you guys here? Was it on fire 20 minutes ago?
Right.
Normal shit that you'd ask. And James admits that he was at his grandmother's house earlier in the day. He says, I was here. Yeah, I was here earlier and it wasn't on fire.
Whoops.
So they don't take him in or anything. He goes home. Everything's fine. The next day, they take him in for some additional questioning, and he's arrested.
Yeah.
He's charged with first-degree murder. He doesn't admit shit at first. He will not admit anything. Nothing. There's a little in the investigation. The fire lieutenant found a gray metal box in the house. And it's a gray metal box. It didn't burn. He gave this to the fire chief, who gave it to the police department. And that inside inside this metal box was some of James's papers and some gold painted bullets.
Oh no!
Which is a bad sign.
Yeah.
It's pretty good evidence there. And so this is what made this is why they ended up taking him in for additional questioning, because they're like, hey, we found some gold on those bullets, son. So at that point, while Lieutenant Lopes of Marshfield Police Department was questioning him, James jumps up and punches him and tries to run away.
Wow.
So that's also a terrible tip of a bad poker player, we'll say. Bad poker face.
That's not a good, that's a tell.
That would be like you got a pair of threes and there's a lot of money on the table and you just throw the table, tip it over, kick everybody out of their chairs and run away. And you're like, what are you talking about? I had a great hand.
Right.
I was winning that hand. That's crazy.
Start picking up cards off the
bit
floor.
Of a
This
tell.
was clearly my hand.
This is clearly my hand. Yeah, I had all these aces. It's fucking ridiculous. So they arrest him at least for that, and then they, talk about the gold box and all that kind of shit. And they go, "This is probably our guy. Yeah. Let's charge him with first-degree murder too, and assaulting a police officer on top of that, because you can't do that." They found a small silver knife on him. That's all they found on him. Now, after the arrest, his mother goes to visit him on June 10th.
Oh, boy.
Because she doesn't know what to do here. So at that point, he tells her, while she visits him, that, quote, his brain was on fire and the voices were really bad in his head at this moment, which...
Now Nana's on fire, you dick.
There's a lot. He chose bad words there. And also this type of stressor situation will make, if you have a mental illness, another thing they talk about with prison or even any sort of involuntary incarceration, if you have a mental illness to begin with, even one that's under control, that amount of stress is huge exacerbator on that, and makes people it makes people do things they maybe wouldn't normally do. And they say even people who are mentally stable get in that situation, and sometimes they snap. You never know. So if this person has got some unidentified schizophrenic disorder and you put him under this kind of pressure, he's fucking losing it. So his head's on fire, he says. Voices are really bad in his head. They also said that, he also said, quote, the mother said, "What happened? What happened? Tell me, I'm your mother. What happened?" So he said, quote, "I've been a vampire for 4 years." Yeah. That's what he says. He said, voices told me I had to be a vampire and I had to drink blood for a long time. I've been talking with the devil for a long time also. Maybe it's just in my head. I don't know. I ask questions and it's the devil who answers me, which that's what happens when you put it out there. Anybody could answer, I guess. It's an open line. He did like a breaker 19. Anybody out there, and the only person out on the highway, shouting into their hand box is the devil. It's a lonely night out there on the road.
Why couldn't you just be gay? God damn it.
Breaker 19. I got a big problem. Anybody out there can help me over? How you doing there, Pally? No, it's my handle. It's not the devil. That's who I'm not the devil. Yes. No, son. Tell me more. Tell me more. Don't kill or anything like that. Not right now. Maybe don't. Not the devil. That's me.
It's pronounced Satin.
It's Satin, not the devil. My last name, one word, not the devil. That's the word. So the devil answers him. What do you want? She said that he told her that he painted some bullets gold with paint because vampires in Florida vampires, the worst kind, told him that gold tip bullets would find their mark. And he also said he had met the vampires in Florida, and he said that he knew some of these vampires for a fact were over 200 years old, the ones in Florida.
I'm a level 3 now.
They just look bad because they're always out in the sun. They don't wear any sunscreen. They're really only 52, but they look 85, and he thinks they're 200. That's really how it works down there, I feel like. So he said, I thought it would be just one bullet because it was gold and it would find its mark.
Right.
But it wasn't. I had to shoot her a bunch, and then she still wasn't fucking dead. So I stabbed her, and she still wasn't dead, and that's why he set her on fire, because she's a vampire. You can't kill her. So he did say at that point, before he set her on fire, he did do one thing. Remember we said the bullet wounds were a little weird, and they were trying to figure out what was done with them? Well, he said, quote, I then drank her blood, because that's what the vampire told me to do.
So he sucked her blood through the holes?
So he put his mouth over the bullet wounds while she's alive, mind you.
God.
And tried to suck her blood.
And that's your grandma.
She said, quote, yeah, that's because that's what a vampire told me to do. He said
Holy shit.
He tried, but he was unsuccessful because he couldn't drink any of his grandmother's blood because, quote, she was old and dried up. Mm-hmm. And I kept telling the voices all day I couldn't do it. I tried, voices.
My Christ.
Wow. He then said, I poured dry gas over her and set her on fire. He said he then went to North River in Marshfield, where he then tried to kill himself. Yeah. That was the original plan. That's where he ended up putting the gun down and putting the leaves over it. He was going there to kill himself, and he decided to just leave the gun behind, because he said that the voices told him that his body would be mutilated by them if he committed suicide. Okay. It's like, if you kill yourself, we're going to fuck your body up. Yeah. And he was like, oh shit, never mind. You know.
And for our sake, I'm kind of glad he didn't. This is an amazing story told by him.
This is crazy.
Wow.
He said that he told his mother then, this is the next thing, that everybody, he said that basically he believed, this was in the vampire, in the whole vampire pyramid business, he believed that, that if he, quote, killed everybody who was bad to him, he would come back as a handsome man and have a car and girls, and his life would be fine.
Ooh.
That's what he was told.
That's the goal?
That's the goal.
A car and girls?
A car and girls. Now, first of all you need to do is make money to do that. You'll get a car, and
the car
not all girls will like cars and money, but some do. If you want just a girl, if substance doesn't matter to you, if you get some money in cars, you'll find a few girls that'll be willing to hang out with you. Come back as a handsome man.
That might be the kicker.
And maybe have a car and girls. And he's a normal looking guy. Yeah. I mean, honestly, he's a normal looking dude.
Doesn't look terrible.
No, he looks like an actor. I can't place him, but he looks like a certain actor. Like he looks a character actor, not a leading man. Okay. But it's not a horrible looking, and not somebody where you'd be like, oh, Jesus Christ. Right. Yeah, I can see he's disfigured.
Hollywood accepts him.
Character actor. He's the friend. Okay. He's the lead's friend. Okay. Yeah. The lead actor's friend.
Not George Costanza, though.
He's not Costanza, but he's like the lead actor's like wingman.
Oh, okay.
Type of guy. Gotcha. He's not quite as attractive as the lead guy, but he's kind of got a spunk to him, and he has birds in his pocket, and he's got a great sparrow recipe. You know how it works, Jimmy. We've all seen that romantic comedy. We've all seen that one. You're like, come on, Katherine Heigl, go out with Bird Guy. He's right fucking in front of you. And then she just doesn't.
Ed Helms is a dentist, for Christ's sake. Date him.
She picks the handsome guy. What are you going to do? So, girl and cars, and his life would be fine. Yeah. He described everything to his mother, the basement, everything going down there. He says as he approached her, he shot her once. Through the glass of water, he shot her again. He then he thought she was dead, so he dragged the body into her bedroom and retrieved her wheelchair, ripped open her pajamas, and sucked the blood from the bullet holes. Okay. But she wasn't actually dead. Then he poured dry gas on her, which he got earlier, and lit her body and lit her on and set her on fire. By then. He said he was only in the house 10 minutes. From the time he came over to the time flames were burning through her bedroom.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Wow.
Just enough time to put in a load of laundry and kill an old woman and suck the blood out of her wounds. He also, like I said, he tried to kill himself, he told her. He said, quote, then he says, quote, I didn't stab her and I didn't hit her on the head like they said I did, but I did drink her blood because, I have to, because that's what vampires do. That's his exact quote. Quote, I didn't stab her and I didn't hit her on the head like they said I did, but I then drank her blood because, I have to, because that's what vampires do.
Well, where the hell did the stab wounds come from?
And then, well, that's the thing. You did stab her. Right. And then after a while, he sat there and paused and then said, quote, I didn't want it to happen, and I kept telling the voice all day that I couldn't do it. So he's like, I don't know. It's just they kept breaking my balls. So, what are you going to do? For Christ's sake, man.
His wife texts you enough, you're going to do whatever she asks.
Yeah. The autopsy, they said that, quote, she didn't die instantly, she burned alive.
Oh, Jesus,
so
no.
She was unconscious, they believe, but she was not dead when the fire started.
Fuck.
So that's,
that is horrible.
She wasn't alive and kicking and fucking, oh my God, I'm in pain. She was unconscious.
Her eyes are closed, but she's drawing wind.
She's still alive, so that's just horrible. So obviously, the first thing they're going to do when they arrest him is they're going to try to figure out his mental status. Let's figure out if this guy's prosecutable, because he is undeniably a fucking Cocoa Puff. Right. I mean, he's out of his goddamn mind.
One bird short of a flock, but it's because he ate it.
He ate it. It's in his fucking pocket. That's the problem. No, he's got the bird. It's in his pocket. That's it. He is going to eat it later. And then he's going to have one bird short. So, Jesus Christ. So
that felt good.
That is good. That was real good. So he's at the Plymouth House of Correction.
Yeah.
First he was at the he's in different psychiatric. They put him in one place and they move him to another place. They're trying to figure out where the fuck to hold him, what to do with him. Finally, on March 19th, 1981, a Superior Court judge finds that he is not competent to stand trial. But then, it's odd, in the next couple months, the conclusion is reversed, and they'd say he is competent to stand trial, and they take him to trial.
Oh, boy.
Not sure of the details of that, but they admit all the hospital records and all that sort of shit, and everything was there. The trial opens with his defense attorney here, who is John T. Spinelli, and what a fucking job he's got set out for him. How do you make... All you have to do is say he's obviously mentally ill. I don't know what else you say. You can't say he's a good guy, his grandmother's she's a vampire. What the fuck do you want? She's a fucking vampire. What are you people, stupid? Jesus. Of course, you'd sit there and let her poison you and then let her suck your blood and go up the fucking pyramid while you stayed at the bottom. That's not him. He's not a punk.
Right.
You be a punk, bitch. That's not him. What is happening?
Put him on the stand and ask him what's for lunch. When he says pelican, acquit him.
It's over. It's fucking over. So he tells the jury that his client shot his grandmother and sucked the blood out of the bullet holes because he believed a vampire told him that's what he had to do, which is a good start on an insanity angle here. There is 11 male and 5 female jurors. They have the alternates, and then at the end, they don't exactly know how that works. He says, quote, during the course of the trial, you will hear evidence that the defendant during his lifetime felt he needed human and animal blood. He had a regular habit of not eating normal meals.
It's going to come up over and over.
He ate what he found at the evening. What he found in the evening? Was he a feral cat? And that vampires are not feral cats. That's not, he's totally mixed up this shit. He ate what he found in the evening, and that during the evening he found animal blood. Yeah. That's his defense attorney's opening statement. Son, I'm going to defend you. He wanders the streets and kills your pets and sucks their blood. Yeah, you want him back out on the street, right? Acquit him.
Well, he didn't kill his grandma.
Well, he did, but he's better now.
But this is right.
Let's send him home. It's the only thing we can do. Ladies and gentlemen, the only moral thing to do is to send this young man home, obviously. So the assistant district attorney objected to the reference to his so-called vampire activities.
Yeah.
But the judge said, hey, if he wants to say he's a fucking vampire, that's his right. If he's got a vampire defense, what are we going to say? No? I mean, come on. You know what? Go ahead. Vampire it is. Proceed. I want to hear this, mainly, is what it is. I don't even care if it's legal.
Yeah.
Just, I really want to hear this vampire shit because it's interesting.
Hurry it up. I'm taping.
Yeah, let's go. I'm going to talk to this later. So he says the evidence that you will hear goes beyond who killed Carmen Lopez. That's not the issue. Well, it's a murder trial, so kind of is.
It's kind of the
But there's
issue.
other, yeah. He says the evidence is strong that Jimmy Riva killed his grandmother. Obviously, he says that he's a loner and a loner who had no friends, which is a loner, and that he spent his evenings, quote, roaming the countryside, which, Jesus.
Like a vampire.
Like a vampire or a fucking feral wolf or a dog. His behavior became so bizarre that his family and law enforcement people were unable to determine what to do with him, which is actually true. They didn't know whether to send him to an uncle's house, put him in a facility, just keep him in Florida with all the other fucking maniacs. Who knows? So, who knows? Yeah, there's lots of birds. He's fine.
Down there at HQ.
He's killing meth falcons left and right, taking them right out of the sky. I've developed a bird and meth habit.
A rotisserie on the beach.
Yeah, well, he's fucking pounding meth. So Oh, man. So the prosecutor's statement's a little bit different, but kind of the same, honestly. He's a crazy fuck and blah, blah, blah. He said that he would prove that James shot his grandmother, who was an invalid confined to a wheelchair, with a .38 caliber handgun, then stabbed her and, quote, in an effort to conceal his crime, lit her body on fire as well as left the house in the area. That's what they're trying to say.
Plausible.
As crazy as he is, he tried to cover his tracks. So if you try to get away with something, then you knew it was wrong, then hence you're not crazy. That's the rule. It used to be, if you're crazy, you're crazy. Then, I think it was the 70s.
Crazy people do crazy shit.
Yeah. In the 70s, they changed it to, oh, no, it's not good enough to be crazy. You have to literally not know what planet you're on. That's the only way that you're mentally ill in the eyes of the law. Yeah. It's fucking weird. So, he said that the 2 slugs were taken from her body. They were painted gold. They found 5 more gold-tipped bullets found upstairs in the metal box. They found fucking gold gun with gold bullets in his box that was his, and the whole that shit.
They found the tackle box?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
They're doing the whole, they're telling, they're putting the evidence together in a neat little package here. There's a lot of doctor testimony here. 3 psychiatrists for the defense testified, that, all said that he's not criminally responsible for the murder. One of the psychiatrists, wow, this is a really clinical term, guys. Get Google out or whatever medical dictionary you're going to need to look this up, because it's a little technical. In court, use layman terms. Nuanced, you know what I mean? Yeah. This is a little too nuanced for your layman and your average person. Dr. Daniel M. Weiss of Newton described Riva as, quote, crazy. So very learned, very... Oh, crazy. Is that a medical term? Or
I went to college for that shit.
He literally got up there. He's fucking batshit. He's crazier than a shithouse rat, this fucking guy. I'm telling you.
Somebody say rat, I am hungry.
I'm fucking, he's looking around. Where?
Somebody say bat, that flies, it'll do.
Where? I'll eat it raw, don't worry. So under cross-examination, this guy said that, Dr. Weiss said that as a result of mental disease or defect, that James was unable to appreciate the criminality of his conduct or to conform his conduct to the requirements of the law, which is like the stated law of what you have to be crazy. So they asked him, did the defendant tell you he wasn't a vampire at the time he killed his grandmother? And the doctor said, this doctor's amazing. He's fucking crazy. Okay, elaborate. They said, so they asked him that question: was he or wasn't he a vampire when he killed his grandmother? The answer is, quote, he wasn't. What the fuck kind of answer is that? Then he elaborates. He goes, he wasn't, quote, he had tasted other blood. He wasn't a real vampire. Quote, let's just say he was working on it.
Who is this guy?
Who is this doctor? Oh, he's crazy. Okay, well, that's not a medical term. Can you go into it? Well, he's like not a real doctor. He's like a Will Ferrell character in an SNL sketch where then they chase him out of the court. He's not a real doctor. He's like an inmate that knocked a psychiatrist over and took his suit and put it on and pretended to be one on the stand.
No, Judge. I said call Jerry Gallo, not Callow.
I see at the end of the sketch like a guy in like boxer shorts and a t-shirt comes in holding his head, going, "That's the guy, officer." And Will Ferrell jumps off the stand and runs out.
I said he's crazy.
They tackle him.
He wasn't.
He wasn't. Let's just say he was working on it.
Oh, my God.
Wow. They said then, isn't it inconsistent that he feared vampires, but at the same time wanted to be one? Well, I mean, I don't know. Then the doctor said, that's what makes him crazy. I swear to God. That is not me saying that. That's not me making this up.
Isn't it fucking nuts?
Make it up. That's what he says. He says, quote, that's what makes him crazy. This fucking doctor is a lot of fun at parties, I'll say that.
Now the two of us are having this conversation, deducing what's fucking nuts and what's not. That guy, he can't do this conversation because he's fucking crazy.
That's what makes him crazy. He's entertaining. I don't know if I'd want him to care for me in a medical aspect. But this is why I said you don't even need us making jokes for this episode. You could read this and just be like, what is happening? Our episode this week is just a PDF file of the court documents. Enjoy. Fucking It's crazy as shit.
Where James pauses after every testimonial word from a doctor for you guys to laugh your balls off.
Insanity. Yeah, there's like a page space in between each one. Give you a minute to laugh. Turn to this one.
Be right back.
Yeah. He says, quote, that's what makes him crazy. So far, that's not the end. That's what makes him crazy. That's his quote. So this guy has some awesome, let's just say he was working on it. That's what makes him crazy. He's gold, this guy. So three defense psychologists have diagnosed him as a paranoid schizophrenic, basically, which is like hears voices, thinks he's somebody else. That's like one of the ones where, okay, maybe you're too crazy to go to jail because you don't know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing here. But a fourth psychiatrist said that he was a manic depressive with features of delusional mania, which is it's not quite that.
It's not good.
It's not wonderful. You don't want to have that.
No.
Now, under direct examination here, the one guy said that he talks about the voice of God and all that sort of thing. They said the first time that Riva says he heard the voice of God was 1977. He was, quote, chopping down a tree in the woods with an axe, and he heard a voice say to him, "Thou shalt not cut down maple trees," which is not a commandment. I don't believe God gives a shit about maple trees. If there is a God, I don't think maple trees are big on the list of not cutting them down.
If so, Canada's going to hell.
Yeah, it's one kid with an axe. I don't think he was going to take the whole forest, so it wasn't a real big deal. Now, this doctor said that James believed all white people were vampires.
Okay.
That's what he believed.
I mean, all vampires are white. But not
usually.
All white people are vampires.
Well, yeah, it's the way he says, no. All white people are vampires. That's his belief.
Okay.
But blacks were not vampires, as quote, but blacks were not vampires. That's why they are black.
Oh, boy.
I don't understand what that means.
Borderline racist.
It's like, it's racist and weird, but like, that's why, and it's also completely nonsensical, which is, I don't understand how those things connect.
That's damn near Mormon.
Okay, yeah. So let me get this straight. You're white because you're a vampire,
right.
And then everyone else isn't you're black because you're not a vampire. You're white because you are a vampire. Black is baseline,
right.
And then if you enter Amway vampire pyramid scheme, you become white. Like the Mormons used to say back in the day that you get lighter the more you believed in Mormonism, which was an actual thing they would say.
That's the thing. That's why black people are that color.
So that's what he says. He goes, but blacks were not vampires. That's why they are black. These thoughts have stayed with him for over the past 4 years. They come and go. He's working on it.
So good.
So a psychiatrist for the prosecution said that that James was aware of wrongdoing and criminally responsible for the murder of his grandmother. He disagreed with all four psychiatrists that said that he was a paranoid schizophrenic or a manic depressive. He says he's just an asshole. No, that's not what he says. That would have been great, though, if he says, I think he's just kind of a dick. No, he says he diagnoses him with borderline personality disorder, which is that's
entirely different too.
It's different
than all these things,
and way lighter than where I think this guy's suffering from here. Now, at the end, the judge instructed the jury that a defendant cannot be held responsible for what he has done if, because of mental illness, he lacked first substantial ability to appreciate the wrongfulness of his act, or second, he lacked ability to control his impulses according to the law. They said that if he's told the jury if that's the case, the jurors could find him not guilty in the first degree, but guilty in the second degree. Yeah. If that's how that.
And if I'm a juror on this in this jury, I'm looking at. He said that the voices told him to do it, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then he could now do it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That story alone just says, go fuck yourself, sir.
Yes.
You did it.
And the verdict is, though, he is found guilty of second-degree murder.
Wow.
Second-degree murder. I think the jury's so confused by fucking dead birds and psychiatrists and weird shit that they're just like, I don't fucking know. Just lock him up.
Yeah.
Just lock him up. Whatever. That locks him up for a long time, and that's good enough for us. So he's found guilty. Plus, there's other things too.
Okay.
Second-degree murder. He's also found guilty of arson, obviously. Guilty of assault and battery battery on a police officer when he's questioned. So they didn't forget that little nugget.
Didn't throw that one away.
You hit cops, they tend to remember that shit. As they read the verdict, he showed no emotions. This was only a 3-hour deliberation. They were just probably figuring out first and second degree, and that was about it. And it was 9 men and 3 women with the final jury. Sentencing comes around. The judge says to you, Mr. Vampire, you, sir, may fuck off. Sentences him to life in prison at the Walpole State Prison on the murder charge, and then concurrently to be served with a 19 to 20 years on the arson charge.
Now you're eating
as
crow.
Well. Now you're eating crow. And also, yeah, I would say so. And and then they add a little bit more for the charge of battery on the police.
You can get life for second degree.
Oh yeah, life for second. Now that's life with parole.
Right.
But it's still life.
Right.
He's eligible for parole, though, in 15 years.
Oh, my God.
So that's life.
Yeah.
So there you go. Because life, I believe, is like 30, really, and then it's 15. It depends on the state.
He's young.
And he's young. That's what I mean.
Right.
November 1984, he has an appeal.
Yeah.
He wants a new trial.
Oh, boy.
He's been wrong, Jimmy.
Tired of all this crow.
Yeah, he says he's eating this crow, and he wants a sparrow now. Yeah. He's really tired of it. He says he's suffered from chronic form of schizophrenia. It causes him lacks substantial capacity to conform his behavior, blah, blah, blah. What the law says. The doctors, he has doctors that back him up. Some doctors don't back him up. They said no one of these 4 psychiatrists who testified first saw Riva until about 8 months after the killing of his grandmother, when he had been some time under medications used to attempt to tone down the visible effects of psychosis. They said that one witness referred to hospital records showing treatment of Riva there shortly after the killing, when medication was prescribed to prevent assaults on people. So they're saying that even if you thought he was sane because he was medicated for the last 8 months.
Right.
You didn't see him when he came in wild-eyed with a pocket full of robins. That was a different guy. You know what I mean? You might have had a different opinion of him then, is what they're getting at.
One robin's too many.
A pocket full. Holy shit. A pocket full. You're acquitted. I'm sorry.
His pocket's just chirping.
Wow. Yeah. Whoa. Well, not anymore.
No.
He just hits it. It's sharp. He just slaps. Every once in a while, he just slaps the leg of his cargo shorts, and people are like, what happened? He's like, nothing.
What a terrible man.
Oh, God. That's so ridiculous. Jesus Christ.
Gross.
So, he said, they talk about all the different psychiatrists. One, they say they try to say that he's fine, is they get a tape of one of these psychiatrists talking to him, and on the tape they say that James was able to respond cogently to questions put to him. He understood the questions, he made responses denying his involvement and even possibilities as to what might have happened. Like he was saying, well, this might have happened, right. Other vampires might have come for her soul, but he didn't say vampires.
Somebody on the lower chain.
You know how it goes. I've moved up since then. Right. I mean, Jesus. He was not confused. He was able to organize his thoughts. He was not the behavior of someone who in a state that would interfere with the requisite capacities. So he's saying that he was fine, that Riva could manage his behavior and operate in a way that would be consistent with his self-interest, and that he's fucking fine. They talk about, they keep saying borderline personality disorder. They say he's a person who's, quote, not capable of really mature relationships with other people, and is likely to, quote, develop a large fantasy system around him. They said it's usually usually such persons have a history of being in trouble, either with the law or school authorities. So that's him. I mean, that defines him. They find the judge properly denied the finding that he was not guilty by reason of insanity, and that his appeal is denied, and he gets no new trial, and he can fuck off. Okay. Now, in 1987, he's in jail. Yeah. And he becomes somehow, okay, this is weird. There's an inmate who hangs himself in jail. Okay. Last name of McGinnis. Okay. He hangs himself, and they have this article. It's an article about just like people who kill themselves in prison. They have a bunch of these recent suicides in prison, and so they talk about this McGinnis guy. And in his article, they discuss it with James Riva for some reason.
Oh boy.
They talk to him from the phone in prison. Somehow he's the fucking representative. This is your press. This is your press secretary, James Riva. He says, quote, he was very distraught about a lot of things, of the the suicidal man. He didn't really think he had a chance of ever getting out of here because of the hostage ordeal, because he had taken hostages.
Yeah.
He said, and a lot of officers didn't like him because he had taken someone hostage. So he said, it make everyone here is not surprised he killed himself, basically. But why? He's the fucking spokesman for...
What is that?
Who called him? How does he have a phone number? How do you get him on the line?
Unless the reporter or whatever is like, this will be a fun one.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. How does any reporter worth their salt, how do they talk to that guy and even discuss some dude hanging himself in a cell and it's like, you're a vampire? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What'd you have for dinner last night? Let's discuss that first, because that's press worthy. It's crazy. So
you got a hot plate in your cell? Tell me about this.
Jesus Christ. Don't give him any ketchup. So 1990, he's in prison. Mm-hmm. He's charged with attempted murder, not for attacking another prisoner, but for attacking a corrections officer. He attacks a CO, and he has a piece of metal, like a signpost type of thing that he's fashioned into a shank.
Jesus.
Like people do in prison. He's got it's a big long one too. It's not even like a little tiny one.
How the hell did they hide that?
Who the fuck knows? He's got a big long prison shank. Who knows what job he was doing or whatever. People have access to different shit. He stabs a CO in the head.
Wow.
Stabs a CO in the head and then beats him with a mop handle afterwards. The man lived, luckily.
What a tough dude.
Yeah. Well, he's a fucking prison guard. He's a CO. Those guys are usually, you got to be kind of tough, I would think, to not get pushed around that job. So he then beats him with a mop handle after that. He says that his excuse for this was that he needed his spinal fluid.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
he was trying to extract it with the signpost.
Okay.
That was the point of this.
Hey, boy.
And then he stabbed him, but he didn't die, so he's like, fuck, I can't take his spinal fluid without killing him.
Oh, boy.
You know how that goes.
Yeah.
How many times have we tried to... every time I need spinal fluid, I'm like, oh, Christ, now this guy's alive, I gotta deal with this.
Lord.
I'll just get birds. So, where's a cat? So, he's charged with attempted murder, obviously. In 1991, he is found not guilty by reason of insanity for that offense. So, he's no extra time.
Nothing.
Not guilty. Reason, he's insane.
Whoa.
Moving on. Next case.
Same doctor. He's crazy as shit.
Crazy as shit. He's just crazy. Did I mention just batshit? That's what I mean.
He beat an officer to death. That's what makes him crazy.
He's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's what makes him crazy. Thanks, dude. August of 2004, he is up for parole.
Oh, no.
Up for parole.
Yeah.
He is, obviously people aren't real excited about this, like, residents of the town and people who've known him in the past.
Maybe his family.
They don't really want him out on the streets. He's not a popular guy. A bunch of residents said this one woman here who she was the assistant town clerk at the time, and a reporter asked a bunch of people about him, and she said, quote, "The minute you said his name, it all came back to me. It was terrible. There were so many stories going around about his
I'm sure
vampirism." Another one guy who was a police officer in 1980 said, quote, "I was kind of flabbergasted by what happened in country Marshfield. That's something you'd hear about happening in the city." Not really. No. You don't hear about that really happening many places.
This is the only story I've ever heard of this.
This isn't an urban-rural situation, I really don't think here. You know what I mean? I think this is a fucking crazy situation.
Some shit you hear about down in Florida, but not here.
This is a cats and birds situation, not a... Yeah, not here. More of a Florida problem. Another woman here says, quote, I think it's the brother of the fire chief or some shit, said, quote, "It was a disaster to Marshfield. Everybody was scared to death." Well,
you caught the boogeyman.
Yeah, no shit. God, he was trying to, by the way, he stabbed the prison guard because he thought the prison guard was trying to kill him. Okay. He was having paranoid. Yeah. He thought he was trying to poison him, and then he thought he was trying to kill him, so he
now it makes sense.
Fashioned a shank and said, "I'll get your spinal fluid before you kill me."
Right.
That's how this shit works. He had a total of 4 admissions to the mental health unit during his incarceration, was finally discharged from it in 1999. He's had a lot of history of mental illness in jail. Also has a history of non-compliance with treatment, and also his escape from the Taunton Psychiatric Hospital in the 70s there. He does say that now, though, as he's up for parole in 2004, that he's fine.
Yeah.
He says the advancement of medicine now has made him much better, as well as his own investment in his treatment. He's stabilized, and he intends to continue to comply with treatment, whether it's mandated or not. He knows he needs help, so he's saying he's fine. He also says that he's engaging in programming to address his history of substance abuse and mental illness, and since he's been in prison, he's earned his bachelor's degree.
Oh.
So he is ready to be a productive member of society. He said that he's gained the insight necessary to manage his mental illness and is committed to treatment compliance. And the parole board says, nah, I don't think so. Tell you what, we're going to let you go ahead and percolate and marinate for another few years.
Yeah.
They can say come back next year. They can say 2 years. The longest they can say to come back in is 5 years. And they say, we'll see you in 5, asshole.
Oh, shit.
Have a good one. You need more time.
They left him for another 5.
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay.
That it. So 2009 is parole hearing fucking 2.0 here.
In 5 years.
Parole boogaloo. And he says that he was calm in this hearing. He says that he'd like to be released from prison. He says, quote, this is amazing. This also, by the way, comes from an old book about prison, because I heard the quote in a prison book. Quote, the name penitentiary comes from the word penitent, and you learn how to be penitent in prison.
Oh, boy.
That's like an old, that's like the old like Quaker way when they made, that was to, instead of beating the shit out of people, you put them in a penitentiary and let them think about it. That was before that, they would just flog them and then send them back where the fuck they came from.
Marks.
Or kill them.
Right.
Either one, or just hang them. He also says he's gained an education. He talks more about his bachelor's, and he says he's converted to Islam.
Oh, Jesus.
He's good now.
Yeah.
He's fine now.
So much peace.
Well, now he's got inner peace, he says. He's got religion. He's got a guiding force. His God isn't a vampire.
Right.
So he's happy about that. He says that years of prison therapy and medication have helped him control the mental illness that convinced him he was a vampire, that led him to torture animals, attack a prison officer, and kill the elderly woman who cared for him and the only person who gave a shit about him in the whole world.
Yeah.
But also a bunch of members of his family testify at the parole hearing to say, we don't want this fucking guy out.
Yeah.
He's an asshole. They say his vampire shit is contrived. His defense has only worsened their pain, subjecting the family to endless media attention over the years. Sorry, family, to pile on, but this is crazy shit. He's been denied parole before, obviously. Now, in 2009 here, the parole board expresses concerns regarding his continued written submissions to family members, particularly his mother. He directed his hostility and blame toward her for his issues, and his writings include both bizarre and threatening content. This isn't up to and including now when he's going to fucking parole.
He's writing letters to his mother and threatening her?
Content, blaming her for his life. He continued to write these letters after he'd reportedly been stable and symptom-free for many years. So this isn't like I used to do it.
You're right.
It's all fine like that. He insists that he's now gained a different perspective regarding his relationship with his mother and realizes that his anger was misguided. Members of his family, however, testify that he continues to post threatening messages directed at his mother on a website that includes inmate submissions. The parole board found the writings directed toward his mother to be of significant concern, especially in the light of his insistence that he was a victim of horrific abuse at the hands of his mother and his, penchant for taking revenge and killing people and sucking their blood. One of the relatives said, quote, about Carmen, the grandmother, she deserved to die surrounded by her loved ones and according to God's plan, not James Riva's plan. James Riva deserves not even a glimmer of hope of living one day in a world he so viciously took away from his grandmother. Another one of Carmen's granddaughters said that was talking about that he did it intentionally and quote, what James did to my mother 29 years ago was planned, premeditated, and a planned and premeditated attack. His release simply cannot be compatible with the welfare of society.
Right?
Yeah. He said, as a matter of fact, though, he said that they said he showed a lack of remorse, and they said that the parole board says that he seems fixated on a claim that his mother abused him when he was young. He keeps talking about that. One of the board chairman said, quote, you've taken a person's life in a horrific, sadistic way, if I can be frank. Well, you're the chairman, so feel free. If you were to do it to somebody who was on your side, who cared and supported for you, it shows what you could do, that you could do it to anybody. Which is a really good point, I would say here. They also questioned why prison officials still don't trust him to take his medication. He has to take it supervised, that sort of shit. Finally, a police officer who was one of the people who worked the whole case said, quote, it was his turn to talk, and he said, quote, he shot her once. She threw a glass of water at him, and he shot her again. She didn't die instantly. She burned alive. That's the viciousness of this thing. And in that room, no remorse. God forbid if he gets loose in society, somebody would die. Yeah. And so they were like, well, yeah, that's not good. Yeah. And then they hear about the metal rod that he plunged into the head of a corrections officer to tap his spinal fluid. They asked him about that, and he said, oh, God, that? He said, no, that was because I was, before I was taking my antipsychotic drugs. He says, that's why. And now I'm fine. But that was he said, quote, I can assure you just by my words, I wouldn't be a threat to anyone.
No, I don't care.
Just by my words.
Yeah, your words.
Hey, my word is gold here.
Your word, like bullets.
Word's gold. Hey, you know what? Like bullets. If I say I'm a vampire, I'll suck blood. My word is bond, son. The fuck? So,
you think you're Buster Rhymes?
Yeah, that's all. So he said, his aunt also testified, saying she would sicken to see an article in 2007 that he was attempting to sell artwork online that he made in prison. He's one of those. She said, quote, he saw nothing wrong with wanting to profit from his notoriety. How much does he think my mother's life is worth? There are people in our community who cannot be released, which is what she said. So, yeah, the chairman said that called him utterly reckless and irresponsible. He said, you thought it was realistic to kill your grandmother and suck her blood. I'm just trying to figure this all out. Is that what you think? Mm-hmm. And he said, no, but now I'm better. He said, quote, I think I'm employable. As what?
Lead bird chef.
That's fucking the guy who scrapes roadkill off. Like, what is the fuck job can this? I think I'm
bird population.
Who's hiring him? Well, he's a real interesting guy to talk to. You're like, no. Yeah, they disagreed and denied his parole.
Good.
Told him to get fucked and sent him back for another. Come back in 5, Chief.
Fantastic.
Another 5. Let's see what you do there.
Now that math doesn't add up, James.
No, it's bad.
It's close.
It's close. His old attorney, by the way, that worked his first trial, Spinelli there, they talked to him. He says he hasn't heard from James in many years and declines to comment on the parole hearing. He says that's, I don't know the details. Out of my hands. Didn't do it. He says that though he does have a canvas that James painted him and sent him from prison shortly after he was sentenced, which he has hanging in his office. It's the Boston skyline and all the buildings are in black with no lights or anything. So it's some creepy shit even that he sends there. His prison profile I found here is James Riva, inmate W38533, serving life sentence for murder, born, incarcerated, denied parole twice, interests, painting, drawing, religious study, law, creative writing, exercise, fishing and boating, but I don't remember it well. It's hard to have an interest in shit that you can't do. Goals, to win some cases and publish some of my works to make it possible to start paying meaningful amounts of restitution to my victims. Of course, I would like to be released from prison, to be on speaking terms with my ex-girlfriends and grown children. Well, let's not be crazy. He's got children, by the way. We didn't even have time to get into that shit.
Oh, boy.
Hopefully to be able to pay back what I owe. And then it's a Muslim phrase. I'm not sure how you say it, and I don't want to fuck it up. Favorite foods, beans, vegetables, fruits, small amounts of halal meat, some rice, pasta, potato, fish, all kinds. Oh, yeah. And honey too.
Prison food.
Whatever they feed us. Well, he can get
the Muslim
the halal meal. Yeah. He says therapy in prison, 1 45-minute group per week.
That's it?
That's it.
No, that's not enough.
No,
there are free men that go way more.
That's crazy. I pick 300 to 400 four-leaf clovers per summer and dry them, put them in letters to collect my thoughts. They bring no good luck or bad, but it seems to give some peace. Okay. James Riva, he has his prisoner number, OCCC, 1 Administration Building, Bridgewater, Massachusetts, 02324. So, that's him. 2014. Yeah. Up for parole.
Oh, boy.
Again, the parole, and this time they're talking about the letters. I guess he's since stopped writing these letters, but they discussed that he was sending them right up until his last parole hearing and posting online and shit like that. He says he's been stable. He's been stable. He's fine. He's doing even better since the last time. He's been continuing treatment. He has a history of participation and completion that addresses his substance abuse and mental health issues. He participates in individual therapy, which we heard about, and is practicing a practicing member of Islam. He's also engaged in programs to address his violence and to increase his education. He's received his bachelor's degree in sociology. Riva believes that given his demonstrated history of rehabilitation and insight into the necessity of remaining stable and comply with treatment, he's now ready to transition to a mental health facility in the community. He specifically requests to transition to Worcester State Hospital, which will provide him with Department of Mental Health Services. Worcester, yeah. He said, speaking in support of his parole were members of his extended family, one person who was married to his cousin for 15 years. Wow.
Just a random person that just happened to be married to his cousin?
This broad married my cousin when I was already in jail for 15 years. So, and then now the last 15 years, they all been together.
Right.
And now she's going to talk about me. Okay.
Because I'm great.
She testified she'd never heard of James having any intention or desire to hurt his grandmother. She also said that since the murder, he's expressed only remorse for what he's done. There were also tons of people in his family that wrote letters and attended the hearing that were obviously in severe opposition to his parole. They described his grandmother as a hardworking caretaker and the pillar of the family, the matriarch, the one that everybody looked up to, and she helped out everybody. They all discussed the immense loss and the effects of the loss on the family. And they also said that, not for nothing, but the family members were like, we think he's a concern for public safety. We don't feel safe with him out. Nobody feels safe with him out. They talk about the posts threatening his mother. He sat through the parole hearing. It's a 3-hour hearing.
Jesus
people saying
Christ.
He's a piece of shit mostly. They said at this point too, he's got long gray hair and a beard with no mustache.
Oh,
he's a prison Muslim.
Yeah.
Look,
that's a weird look.
It's a weird look. They called him stoic. They said that he answered all the questions asked of him. He was advocating on his own behalf for his relief, believing that he has himself under control. He's learned from his past mistakes. He's good now. In crime and sports terms, he's good now. He says that 5 members of his family read statements opposing his release. One person said, quote, Mr. Riva committed a vicious, violent, cruel, and heinous crime. That's all of them. Wow. It's a good description. And failed to learn from his past experiences as evidence when he stabbed a correctional officer. They called him an extreme danger to the community. Obviously, the assistant district attorney, the ADA, the chief of police all wrote letters strongly advising not to let him out, that they don't want him out. He's a threat to public safety and all that sort of thing. So the parole, here's their decision. The standard we apply, set out, blah, blah, blah. They give the statute number and everything, which provides that, quote, parole board members shall only grant a parole permit if they are of the opinion that there is a reasonable probability that if such offender is released, the offender will live and remain at liberty without violating the law, and that release is not incompatible with the welfare of society. Applying that appropriately high standard here, it is the unanimous decision of the parole board that Riva is not a suitable candidate for parole and 5 more fucking years, asshole.
Fantastic.
So go on back. In 2015, he sues a corrections officer, an individual corrections officer, and then a bunch of other individuals, but one is like the head of the cabal here against him, he says, for stealing his mail is what he says.
For fuck's sake.
He stopped taking his antipsychotic medications because he allegedly, he said it's because of criticism from other inmates and statements from previous doctors that told him that it might be possible for him to go medication free at some point in the future.
Not you, bud.
He thinks this is the time.
Oh, boy.
He's unable to sleep for many days at a time and is stopped taking his medication.
Hey, remember last time you did that?
Yeah, it's bad.
The grandma paid the price of you not sleeping, sir.
Bad shit. In that sleep-deprived state, he allegedly hallucinated a telepathic communication from a nurse who instructed, this is what he's trying to say about the correctional officer back in the day. He said, He says that's why he's getting no mail now, because he stabbed a corrections officer 20 years ago. He said that this man is stealing his mail. Him and his relatives allegedly, quote, reported that a lot of internet traffic was about him, and he began to receive some sporadic letters from lonely young women who were fascinated by his purported title as a vampire killer. Fucking Twilight reading lunatics. He alleges that he received letters and photos from women that he did not know. So he was popular. But that the photos would, quote, sometimes be stolen by the mail officer. And upon his filing of a written grievance, the mail officer just completely cut off all of his mail and stopped giving his mail. He alleges that the mail officer, I won't name the guy here, impersonated Riva in communicating with some of Riva's pen pals, specifically some of these women, created a fake identification to cash money orders sent to Riva. So he's saying people were sending him money, and stole Riva's letters and probate court documents. He also alleges that other officers conspired to cover up this other officer's actions. And he says that Riva also alleges that the corrections officer harassed him by subjecting him to excessive mouth checks, despite Riva having never once hidden a pill or discovered under his tongue or cheek a pill. So he's saying he would always make sure to check his mouth for pills, because they're afraid he won't take his medication. And he's saying that was a discriminatory thing, and he steals my mail, jerks off to my pictures, and takes my money orders and cashes them. Basically, they find no merit in this claim whatsoever. August 2017, he sues the parole board.
Oh, Jesus.
He says that they've unjustly denied him parole, even though he's feeling much better now. Yeah. So they're bullshit, and we need to put them on blast. And they say, fuck you. They made a pretty conscious decision that you're a murderer, and they don't want you on the streets. His next parole is this year.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking within 6 months. This guy's going to be sitting in front of a fucking board. So if you live in Massachusetts, if you live in Marshfield, Massachusetts, if you live in the southeastern Massachusetts area, keep an eye out in the media for this guy up for parole. And I don't know, maybe you want him out on the streets, or maybe you don't. But either way, I don't know, you could email somebody and say, hey, we don't really want this fucking lunatic on the streets, or you can say you do, whatever you're in the mood for.
Or if you hear that
I'm
he's
not
out,
judging you.
Watch your fucking six.
Or keep your cats inside, lock your doors. We'll put it that way. If you just can't get enough of this lunatic, you can go to supernaut.com, where they have a James Riva signed artwork piece, an 8.5 by 11-inch picture of a dreary sailboat. It's nothing special.
It's lined paper, 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, that's just a piece of printer paper. That's what it is. It's a blank. It's like a white printer paper. Yeah. It's a picture of a dreary sailboat signed by him, $45.
That's pretty expensive.
He's taken his artwork down from jamesriva.com and apologizes for the moral misstep of the website, explaining, quote, my aim was only to pay restitution to the people I've harmed and to save a little money to make a lawful reentry into society should I be fortunate enough to be granted parole. He's trying to sell his artwork. That is Marshfield, Massachusetts. Wow. That is James Riva and poor Carmen Lopez. And we have a lot of crazy stories. Yeah. That's top 5 that's crazy, sure, right?
Yeah. That's bananas.
That's definitely a top 5 crazy.
Legit nuts.
It's bonkers. I don't know.
There isn't a story that's a crazier one.
I don't know. And I'm reading this going, no one's talked about this.
How's that?
This hasn't been covered in like I would think this is one of those ones that like 8 different podcasts would have done.
How did Dateline not get a hold of that?
Or
that's
Dateline. It's goddamn crazy. It fell under the radar. I mean, there was a lot of like local media stuff about it in Boston papers. There was, whenever he's up for parole, there's a blitz of coverage, but it's not like, it wasn't like there was not movies about this insanity or any shit like that. It's crazy, but it's wild. If you like that story, or you think it's crazy, or whatever you feel about it, go on and give us 5 stars, damn it. Go on to iTunes, the purple icon, whatever the hell you want to call it, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts, whatever platform, give us 5 stars. Tell us it doesn't matter. You're following instructions, following directions. It's really not for our ego. Go ahead and head over to shutupandgivememurder.com for all of your crime and sports and small town murder needs. You said, you were like, really? I need to?
That's the spot.
You know it's there. Yeah, you don't need to, but you out there, you need to. Jimmy knows it all, damn it. Or did before he was hitting the head with a hammer.
I used to.
You know how that goes. So head there, all your merchandising needs. Also, live shows. Wanted to talk a little for a second about the live shows. Huge slate of live shows, tons of stuff. We're going to be in about 4 cities a month is the way we're going to be doing it.
Sometimes 5.
Sometimes 5. We're going to be, but I will tell you, Tampa and Orlando are coming up over the summer. That's going to be our first ones kind of this tour.
Right out the gates.
Right out the gates. Don't ask the dates, and no, they're not on sale right now. We'll tell you when they're on sale. Don't tweet at us and go, are they on sale yet? If you don't see it on our thing, then they're not on sale.
Right.
That's why you go to shutupandgivememurder.com, look at the calendar, or follow us on social media at Murder Small on Twitter, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. We put those out as soon as they go on sale, and we're given a link. We put them up on social media and we announce them. So we do that. If it's a city that sells out fast, you want to get in and get it fast. Like some of these, Minneapolis and some of these places like that tend to
they go quick.
Tickets tend to move.
St. Louis, we've never been to.
So we've never been to St. Louis. We've never been to Kansas City.
Right.
We've never been to Pittsburgh.
Des Moines.
We've never been to Des Moines. We've never been to Salt Lake City.
Right.
There's a lot of places that we're going. By the way, these are all places we're going that we've never been before. So we're super excited. And a lot of places we have been before. And Milwaukee. Don't forget about Milwaukee. Another place we've never been before.
Right.
And places we have been before. We're going to be everywhere. So check that out. Please follow us on all those things and get your merch on there and wear it to a live show. It's another thing you can get.
It's a great place to wear it.
All sorts of stuff you can get for merchandise and everything like that. You want to be an even bigger hero. We already told you about social media. You can do that so easily. And these are the people that keep the lights on and the recording go, the Adobe Audition recording. These are our heroes, our producers. You can be one of these people. They really help us out. Like we've said this before too. We'll have people that will apologize to us because they're like, I made a Patreon, I pledged on Patreon. It's only $1 a month. I'm really sorry, but we're like, are you joking? Don't apologize for that. That's amazing. Right. You give us $1 a month. That's crazy. Anybody who says, I don't know.
What do you eat, birds?
Yeah. What do you eat? You got birds in your pocket? Get out of here. So that's awesome. If everybody listened to the show gave $1, it would be, Christ almighty. This would be amazing. But you guys are awesome, and we appreciate everything
Whatever
you do.
Give is amazing.
If it's a nickel, we're happy. Honestly,
the shit out of it.
Thank you is what we want to say.
Yeah.
We're not begging for more. We're just saying thank you, and we appreciate everything. And now we want to thank the people who have been our heroes this week and our producers. Jimmy, why don't you hit me with that list like a bird in your pocket, right to the forehead?
This week's executive producers are Candace Kennedy, Mary B., and Lisa Coltrane, who's having her 40th birthday.
Happy birthday, Lisa. Thank you,
for
guys.
her birthday, she would like everyone to go to bethematch.com and see if you can't, I don't know, it's the place where for organ donation and such.
Oh, yeah. Check that out.
She's a big believer in that.
Cool.
So, well, happy birthday, Lisa. She's the one that's she gave us that picture right there.
Oh,
one
awesome.
With
in Baltimore. That was really cool. Thank you
She's
so
amazing.
much. Yeah.
So thank you very much. Producers this week are Brendan Abels, Krista Walker, Amy Grace, Amy
Grace shit? That's a weird name.
Amy Grace Eccles.
Oh, that's a better name.
Ashley Vio, Sarah Hornberger, Gage Foster, and Leah Bauer, James Lombardo, Janice Hill, Nicole Bortz, Thomas Smith, Bree Ryan up there in Montana.
I
think so. Yeah.
Bree.
I always mix up those three states, north and south, and then Montana.
Throw Idaho in and you're a mess.
It's a fucking mess. Reba Warberg. Jesse Hartman. Happy birthday, Emily. It's Emmy Dumont. She's been around a while too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyhow, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jennifer, Gage Simmons. Jennifer with no last name. Gage Simmons. Annabelle's House. I'm not sure what that is. It's spelled like the German house. So
cool.
Whatever that means.
All right.
I don't know. Kayla Ginn Boatwright. No, yeah, Ginn. Yeah, like Ted Ginn.
Yeah.
Reagan Shalkley. She's the one that came to the show. She has the dog named Whisman.
Oh, cool.
Ashley Dawn. Yes. Ryan Lucier. Lonnie Hall. She came to the show.
Lonnie's awesome. She came to 2 shows.
Right.
She's really cool. Hi, Lonnie.
Great.
Thank you.
Hunter Krutzinger. I don't know if I wrote that right. I think it's Krutzinger. I think that's right. Kimberly J. Damian Barney. Not So Steely Dan.
Okay.
Interesting.
I like it.
Tegan Bailey, Patrick Martin, John Sheets, Giacomo Umberto
Giacomo.
Giacomo?
Yeah.
No.
Giacomo.
Giacomo.
It's not Giacomo. It's Giacomo.
That's certainly
GIA is Giacomo. That's James in Italian.
Is it really?
Yes.
Is that what that
That's
is?
how I know it's
All right.
Giacomo.
James Umberto
There you go.
Bertoldo. That's the guy.
You guinea bastard.
Trey Volkanar, who also wanted us to thank his wife Lauren Volkanar, who finally listened to us and gave us a 5-star review. They're
Thank you.
The San Antonio Volkanars.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Mahmoud Rahman. Yes.
Abdul Rauf.
Yes. Donna Hatfield, Dawn Olmstead, Cass, no last name, Craig Larson, Mandy Jo Abel, I think, Catherine Burgess, Nicholas Warner, Caitlin Boone, Noah Wooten, Debbie Way, Sean Stewart, Teresa Brandel, Vanessa Ramirez, so she spelled that so that I don't say it too white with Vanessa. It's Vanessa.
Nice.
With a T. Melissa Figueroa, who also wants Tatiana Cuevas, graduated. She lives in Chicago, and she lived in a shit neighborhood in Chicago, and her parents hate each other, and she still figured out how to graduate. So good for you, Tatiana. Crystal or Crystali or Crystal. I don't know. It's Crystal with an E. Randy Thompson, Rachel Storas, Becca B., Trevor Gordon, Kyle Blythe, David Renazzi, John Masterson John. No, John Master John. That's what it is.
Ooh.
And Steph Master John.
Cool.
That's a fascinating last name.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty. You could, whatever. He was made fun of, I'm sure of it. Katie with no last name. Mandy Miller, and she heard of us on a first date, and the date went shitty, and she still kept listening.
You know what? Good.
You.
That means she got something out of it.
We win.
Yay.
Suck it. Jack and Knopf, yeah. That's somebody's name, apparently.
Yeah,
no, it's not. Justin Miller, Brandon Mansmith, Lauren Moxley, Gary Howard again, Susan Gable, Brandon Massey, Juan Jimenez, Rebecca Sills, Dana Bartram, Grant Reynolds, Logan Murray, Allison Morris, Jack Fisher, Lauren Demarath, and Kevin Jurin. Thank you guys for everything you do for us. We really, bottom of our hearts, appreciate it. Thank you.
The most awesome people in the world. They really are.
Yeah.
It's, cause it's not required.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, we'll keep putting this show out. It's obviously free and shit like that. And, these people just say, you know what? I get 5-6 hours a week, at least from these guys. They, you know, maybe I'll throw them a couple bucks just because I think that's worth it. I think 20 to 25 hours a month of entertainment's worth, you know, $1 or $3 or something like that. You know, so thank you guys for that. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys for that. What if people wanted to appreciate you, Jimmy? They really wanted to take you in and appreciate the Jimminess of your whole situation. How could they find you?
You can appreciate me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Facebook's full. Sorry. I've got 5,000 friends on there, and I've got like 20 backed up. So as people have had enough of my shit, new people can get some more of my shit. Where can they get your shit?
You can get my shit at Jimmy P is funny, or just copy and paste my last name from the show description and look it for me like that, because don't try to spell it. You're not going to spell it.
What, do you eat birds?
Why? Yeah, that's bird eating behavior. We're not going to have it there. So, with that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging in there and for everything you do for us. And we can't wait to see you when all these damn live shows. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.